I put them in the plastic Journeys bag that I got for the new shoes, and I put them in my saddle bag where I intended to pull them out and throw them in the dryer. Well, I left them in the bag all night, so it's just
Stank.
yeah. There's
Hey,
probably
how-
mosquitoes in there, to be honest with you.
How we get the mics on? None of them. It's picking up one of the mics, but not all of them.
Talking over there.
Testing. 1, 2.
Oh yeah. Sorry guys, it is a. I didn't even plug the microphones in.
Hey, this happened last time, remember?
Yeah.
I have a curse.
I just haven't been here, man.
It's okay. Hi, guys.
All right, y'all talking it now?
Testing. Hello.
Things going.
Hello.
Can y'all reach over and tap mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to fix my angle here.
No.
No.
All right, do it again. All right, cool.
All right.
My bad, guys.
Sorry.
So run it back. No.
Let's say everything we just said all over again.
So, man, it's I'm.
Shoes wet, ride suck. Got it.
No, it's been hard getting back in the groove here, man. It's ever since we did the makeover in the studio, it's also been part of my not being here, like being here for a week, gone for 2 weeks, and so I still don't feel comfortable in here. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
different.
Yeah.
From the last time I was here.
Yeah,
like
I mean-
even like having that wall there
Yeah.
versus like I think we used to sit over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that side. So like even like your head's different. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, it's kinda but it's nice. I like it. It still has the same vibe, just different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, if we were building the studio again, I would not have put a door right behind where I sat. That was kind of like an annoying thing every time I would do a video. It's like, you know, you watch Joe Rogan's podcast, he's got this cool ass sign behind him,
Yeah.
and then you watch mine, and there's a fucking like
Door.
There's a sheet.
Yeah. And you see everybody going in and out into the pisser.
Yeah, I was going to say the same
Yeah,
thing.
so just finding ways to kind of utilize the space and be a little bit more intentional with it and whatnot. So,
But it was funny to see like people come in and like show their ass right behind you. and
like
you
when
had no
Jetty
idea.
came in
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fucking tucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Those
wild.
were fun.
There's been some good times in here, man. But yeah, it's just it's like we were just talking about, man. This year has been weird,
It has.
you know?
Yeah.
It seems like as soon as you finish painting your bike, you've just been gone.
Yeah. I mean, I was gone before that. I mean,
Yeah,
We
well,
came
know
back
you had-
just to paint it.
Yeah.
I kicked off. I was going to do like a solo little like recap of my own year so far for the Patreon stuff, but tidbit, like kicked off the year literally the first, like right after the first, went and did the Matt Jackson and Colt Wrangler podcast down in
Those were
Austin.
good. Yeah.
And turned around, came back for 5 days, and then left and went on the Midwest one. So we went and did Iowa, all that, Bare Knuckle Paul, those guys, Speed Dealer. Came back from that, went to Oklahoma and painted for 10 days.
Yeah.
Came back from that, had a month to get Daytona projects done for all the people that I had worked for. And then 2 weeks on the road during Daytona to go to the Pacific Northwest and do podcasts. Come back from that, a month until the camp out. So I had to get
You had a couple helmets, right?
a lot of helmets
Yeah.
done, and I felt like there was a bike in there somewhere. And then came back from that, and then it was balls to the wall for Tommy's Road Glide
Yeah.
and
Texas Hills.
Mark from Lexin's Softail. Then Texas Hills,
Yeah.
then back to Covington's to paint again
Right.
for 10 days. Come home, knocked out the ST in like a week and a half. Matt was helping out with that. And then 2 weeks to Born Free. Come home for 4 days or 6 days, and then on the trip with the boys. Back from that last Monday. Covington's Tuesday till last night at 10:30. So I'm back home now. It's just like,
Jeez.
So I haven't been able to put out podcasts because
Yeah.
it's like wherever I'm at, there's not enough internet to be able to like upload shit, and it's just been a mess, man.
Yeah. Well, that's how it goes when you're productive. You have
Yeah.
to produce.
Well, it costs a lot of money to be on the road, man. It's like yes, the podcast makes money, but it's like I have to go to Covington and knock out these pikes and make these big checks so that it can float me for the 2 weeks that I'm gone, And maybe in my head, I'm telling myself like I need to be on these trips to do certain things and create stuff. But
I mean, it's a part of your brand.
Yes.
You have
trying to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to represent what you do. You know, like you can't be putting podcasts out for everybody that's going to like come to your shop. You know, like not everybody's going to have that time.
yeah.
And if you're willing to sacrifice like you are doing, then eventually it'll pay off. You know.
So how about you? So you went into the shop around a year ago almost, right? Just
Yeah, November was when I signed the lease.
So how did you? We were just talking about this before we go, and that's why I kind of stopped you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perception versus reality.
So I'll try to keep it as
I put it this
professional
way.
as
I'm
possible.
a sounding board like all the time.
Yes. So being in the garage was its own vibe.
Yeah.
That was like what I fell in love with. It was me, my quiet space, not really too many customers except for like select few, right?
Yeah.
But it was majority of like me doing what I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. Like that was it. Fast forward a little bit, I moved into a commercial space so that way I could have more space, right? Like I outgrew my garage and I wanted to start slinging parts. You know, like I needed to be more legitimate so I could get a business license and get, drag dealer accounts, all that kind of stuff. Got into that, opened up the shop for those two specific reasons only, with really no like signage. I didn't want to sign out front. I didn't want anybody to just roll in. So like the shop is on a private ranch. The gate's always locked. Like if I don't know you're coming, you're not just going to walk up on me because I like to be, busy and focused. Not too far into it, I had an opportunity to hire one of my mentors from the old shop.
Yeah.
Because he was tired of where he was at and got all excited because of what I had going on. So then I had to provide a space for him and an opportunity for him to come in and produce work, right?
Yeah.
So work on bikes. So then I opened up the service department aspect of the business, which, I left that, right? Like that's why I left the old shop that I was working at as a general manager, because I didn't want to deal with customers, no offense. Like it just wasn't my thing. The stress that comes with it, the pressure to, deadlines and, hey man, I get paid tomorrow. They dropped it off yesterday, but they wanted it today type mentality. I didn't want to deal with that. So perception versus reality, like you mentioned, it's awesome. But at the same time, I didn't realize what awesome entails, right? So having an employee, that's its own journey, right? Like you have to work through that person every day, with that person, be there for that person while on top of trying to do what I enjoy the most, which was my quiet spot, my, focused in, trying to hone in and do what I found enjoyable. Now the phone's ringing. The phone was never ringing before. It was just DMs, hey man, do you have this part? Or hey man, can I do this? It's like, cool, I'll get to that. Well, now it's like, ring, Easy Ready Cycle, how can I help you? Like, so it's nonstop this, there's paperwork, there's taxes, there's filing it like every month for your sales tax. There's, I had to hire an accountant now. Now I had to get business insurance. Now I had to get a lawyer. Like just a bunch of stuff that kind of has nothing to do with motorcycles.
Yeah.
But I knew that without me making that jump, I would never probably get to the point to be able to produce like what I'm doing now with the opportunities that came from being legitimate. It's been a journey, but haven't been open a whole year, and it feels like I've been doing this for like 10 years already. Like that's how much every day consists of. It used to be where I could like close the garage door and be like, all right, man, I'm going to sit on the couch and relax with the family. Now I'm sitting on the couch relaxing with the family, and again, he's ready to cycle.
Yeah.
Answering this. Oh, I got a website order. Oh, I got to do this. So I got to reach out to this. It's just a lot more. So it's like a gift and a curse. Like you got to sometimes, like I mentioned, I think to him, it's like, be careful what you ask for. But I love it at the same time, because it's allowed me to grow more than just like in my garage building this bike or going to this event. Like I have more opportunities and I'm enjoying them. I feel like a lot more, because you can really like see if you put this out and you do this much work, or you do this or that, or you help this person, like it's going to come back, and it has been coming back. Like the support that I've been getting of just opening my own shop and having this brand or whatever, it's like it gets overwhelming. Like when we were at Texas Hills, I was not prepared for that support, I guess you could call it. And, you know, you just got to kind of not stay in the moment, but realize what's happening. But then, like, after it happens and you, like, process and you're like, holy shit, like, what was all that about? Like, there's 30 dudes wearing my hat. And, you know, like, it was an eye-opening experience where I'm like, well, this is cool. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
You know? And then on top of that, like, I love providing. Like, I feel like that's a part of, like, why I do what I do, like, with giveaways and different things. Like, I love giving things to people, like, pleasing people. I'm a people pleaser, right? So, like, that's what helps me deal with the everyday, like, employee issues or supplier issues or, hey, man, this dude ordered this one part and now they're back ordered. Like, how can I figure out how to still please that dude, right? So I deal with a lot of that. And then on top of, like, having my family be so proud of, like, what's going on, like, that in itself is just worth it to me. You know, like, when my kids, they see what's going on. My wife's now working with me, like, providing, you know, again, pleasing people and getting her out of where she was working to give her a little bit of a taste of, like, the freedom I've been enjoying, like, as far as, like, being able to provide for yourself and do whatever you want, really.
Yeah, the freedom, right? It's a catch-22.
Yeah. I mean, it's freedom, but you're also paying for it with your time and your efforts. And if you don't know, like, how to handle that freedom, it will tank you.
I've always felt like if you can deal with, like, the system, if you can, like, work within the system, it can provide so much more security in life.
Yeah.
You know, if you do the 9 to 5, if you follow all the rules, I mean, it's so much easier. Taxes are easier. You don't have to. You literally just go to work. They give you a check and everything's covered.
Yeah,
right?
you can budget.
Do you want to put some savings away for your retirement? Yeah, put $100 a check away.
Right, and match it, by the way.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, 20 years later, you got $100+ grand in your bank account or in your 401k. It's like, I think that. How old are you now?
33.
Okay, so that really started to sink into me in my early 30s. After I'd already put like 12 years into being self-employed or running down this path. And when some of your friends that like right out of high school, like they go to college, so they're broke, right? Yeah. And then they get out of college, they get a job, and it takes them like 5-6 years to start getting into a good spot in the job. And then when you get to my age now, 40, like they got $100 grand in their 401k, they're selling their first house, buying the second house.
Yeah, so
and you're like, well, I get to go ride motorcycles.
Right. And they look at you and they think like, damn, look at this dude. Look what he's doing, man. He's this like, I have friends that are still obviously in the corporate world.
Yeah.
One of my best friends right here, he's still in the corporate world, and that's where we met.
Yeah.
I have my brother who's in the corporate world, and he comes to the shop and he brings his laptop and he does work there. He's like, man, we gotta figure out a way for me to like jump. I'm like, dude, no, like I know this is looking cool, and I know you like he has his own plan for my business. And I'm like, no, like let's pump the brakes. I know you're really excited, but like, there's a lot of stuff you don't know behind the scenes, and it is way easier because I had that, right? So having 3 kids, having a wife, having a corporate job. Hey, I'm going to submit my 2-week, vacation, and it's paid because I've saved it up. And rent, don't worry about it. It's all, automatically direct deposit, all that.
Yeah.
But I know that getting into this business, I'm not going to get rich, and I know I'm not going to retire. And it was never about the money. It was just about the feeling that I would get working on a bike or riding a bike or meeting people in the industry or just being able to express myself in a different manner, like, and not have the pressure of like, man, I got to be there in the morning, and or man, dang, if I don't hit my sales goal, or man, my boss is whatever, he don't like me that day, and like I hated all that.
I don't think anybody ever really likes or loves their job unless you're working for yourself and doing something that you want to do, like you.
Yeah, I liked working for the company. I just didn't like the stuff that was going on.
I like I fantasize about the idea of working with a brand or people where it's kind of a collaborative, everybody respects everybody's strengths, and kind of like a utopian work environment is
Right.
what I kind of think of, because I like the idea of teamwork and
Yeah.
and having like people and everybody's like coming together to create something, a project or a solution to something like that. I
That's
like
some of the
that
stuff I
aspect.
miss. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss so like I'm at heart like a sales dude, marketing dude, but I'm also extremely competitive. So like he knows, like back in the day, I would always be like the guy. Like, oh, there's whatever contest. Oh, well then like that's mine. Like, sorry guys, good luck. Like,
So you're the guy that would get those little packets in school and had to sell all the chocolates. And,
Oh, dude, I got expelled from school
They
for
go to
selling
get your tire
lollipops.
frame, buy it all so you win.
Yeah, and so like I would always like hit my sales goal and like always try to, and that's what they wanted. So I miss that aspect. That's not even in this industry, because as soon as you start trying to compete, then what are you? You're the asshole or you're the whatever. And I don't want to be like that.
It's kind of sad that like if you bring any of that too much of the corporate mentality into this, it kind of you get shunned and kind of
Yeah, and it's okay, because I saw this quote the other day and it said, if you're at the bottom, you're competing. If you're at the top, you're collaborating. And that's true, especially in this industry.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I had to process that for a second, but yeah, realistically, when you get to some idea of what top is, at least top for that time in your career, then yeah, it's more about what can you do as a whole and not just yourself anymore.
Exactly. Right. And if you're not willing to like help other people on their journey, like there's been a couple people that are in the industry now, and I'm not going to say I had a direct impact on that, but I've definitely been like, hey man, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
push, because that's what some people have done for me, like especially for yourself, like you've done that for me. So why not continue that trend? And that's what this is all supposed to be about, helping each other out, accomplish certain goals. Like for example, you're a painter, I'm a bike builder. I can't put my product without your product. You can't put your product without mine. So it's like, why not come together and be like, hey, let's paint this pretty picture of a complete canvas, not just, oh yeah, well I'm going to do it all by myself. Yeah. Like, no.
I've been wanting to tackle this this statement that it keeps going around, because my buddies at FXR Division, those guys, they were saying it, and then Justin says it. It's like they don't want to hide all their work with paint.
Right.
More like they
need to highlight it.
Yeah, it's like
Accentuated or whatever.
I feel like the whole finding a way to talk about this and not sound like I'm just being an
hard.
asshole.
It's hard, yeah.
It's like I don't think that solid color bikes have a place in custom motorcycles, and that's a real broad statement, but it's not to say that they all suck. Like like there's no caveat to that or whatever.
I mean,
right?
there's a place for it.
Yeah,
but it's just not.
I feel like when you think of like the most iconic bikes of the past, like the billet chopper era and forward, like it's never a black Dyna, a black fucking FXR, a black this. It's something
the wild stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least like FXR Division, when they did the Pan America,
yeah,
they put some emphasis on paint to accentuate some of the things that were done. And I think that's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to find a balance between what you're trying to convey with your build, and I mean, think about like your build is a prime example. What your build is based off is a prime example. Indian Larry.
Exactly.
He did so much stuff to his bike, and it never felt like it overshadowed what he did to his bike.
Because it was art.
And I think that's the
It
balance.
to be. Yeah,
that's
he
the
considered
balance.
it to be art. Like you have to have all of these different mechanisms to complete this one specific machine.
Yeah.
Just like look at like for example, refrigerators. So simple, right? But you can get totally different ones, and you already know the nice ones are the stainless ones. You can go get the cheap one, but you can just look at it and go, that's quality stuff. Just like a bike build. If you go to a custom bike show or a bike show in general, who do you see getting the most attention? The one that grabs your eye. How do you do that? Paint. You pull them in with the paint, and then the rest of the parts kind of fulfill and close that gap. So to have like a solid bike, that's okay if it's going to not want to be like, you can compete and that's okay, but understand like you're not being looked at the same way.
So this is what's been going on, and the backlash from it is that like people that are just putting carbon fiber fenders on their black bikes and going to shows and losing are trying to talk shit about custom painted bikes like it's big wheel bagger paint jobs, and paint has no place in performance bikes, but your performance bikes was in a bike show, motherfucker.
Yeah.
not on a
there's-
racetrack.
right? And then,
Right.
but there's
So-
there's ways that you can make that
You know
carbon
what I mean?
fender even better.
Yeah.
By what? Adding your own twist to it,
Yeah.
just like Indian Larry used to do. Just like, I mean, that's basically, if you're not willing to touch every piece of that bike,
Yeah.
it's not custom. Period. Like
Well, even Indian Larry liked spoked wheels,
Right.
Because he liked to wire them up himself.
himself, exactly. You have to touch every single piece of that machine.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
that's even what Jeff Holt said. He was like, I look for bikes where basically every bolt has been replaced on that bike. You know,
Yeah.
just the finer details, things like that.
Yeah,
The bolt
I
thing
mean,
is definitely a newer thing for myself. I on my FXR, I did change everything to stainless
Allen's.
Allens, but man, you just can't beat a fucking ARP stainless head bolt. Man, it just
Pretty hard. I know. I go down that rabbit hole all the time, and it's.
But I think also, you know, maybe you can attest to this. As you've been around motorcycles more, what gets you off becomes more and more extreme.
Yes.
Like the things that, you know, maybe someone that's not around a lot of custom motorcycles, a paint job does it, or a set of wheels does it. But eventually, you get so numb to certain builds, and that's kind of where I come from. And it's hard to, you know, I'm not trying to be an asshole and say like,
Yeah.
you know, the 40 grand you put in your bike, but not in a, you know, not having any kind of paint, like it's dumb bike. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. To me,
I'm just saying
there's-
that I'm numb to not doing everything.
Yeah, and there's things for me like, I mean, I haven't been in this industry a very long time. I haven't even done a lot of work to get to where I'm at. I'll be honest, right? Like I haven't produced a whole lot of custom bikes under myself, right? I've done a few, but for me, the one thing that like gets me going is like if I could see a different colored frame, it's like, I don't know why. To me, that's like you looking at a custom paint job.
Yeah.
That's like a little flex, like, well, oh shit! All right, he built that. All right, tight. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
And he's pulled the motor out.
Right,
out, yeah.
right. It's got to be started from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the one thing I look for is like, did you go all the way? Like, because you can't cheat that. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And then the paint. I like to know like who the painter was, like who did it.
Yeah.
So like people who build bikes and then like try to hide the team behind them, I don't respect that.
See, that's the thing that I think that maybe our FXR Tour is starting to expose is that like it takes
does
a
the-
team
right, who
to
does-
build bikes.
exactly.
You know, even the, you know, the guy with the print shop in his garage, TPJ. The people that have these, like we all have to rely on different people for their strengths, and that's, in my opinion, what is a good build. Now, to be fair, like from what I just said earlier, I don't think that my personal bikes, like my Road Glide or my Softail, I don't consider those on the level of what the bikes that were built for Born Free from, you know, the people that were in it. Like I customize my bikes to fit what I need them to do, right?
Yeah.
Visual, on social media, recognizable when I'm driving across the country.
Yeah.
That's what my shit's for.
Right.
If
It's branding.
it's branding, right? So I don't, you know, I'm not, I would say that in a lot of cases, that guy with a black bike and a carbon fender has probably got more work done to his bike, you know what I mean, than
Yeah.
mine. So that's why I'm not trying to say that like I'm better and I did it right and you did it wrong. I'm just
Yeah,
saying in general, to have a custom bike, you need to do all this.
Yeah,
And I'm
and-
lacking
and-
a lot on my personal shit.
Well,
too, so.
when I went to Born Free, California, that was like an eye-opening experience, I would call it, compared to what we're doing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Not saying like what we're doing here isn't equivalent, but I loved the levels that were there. There was just like the completely bare bone stock bike, and you talk to the dude, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I just came from Canada." You're like, "Dope."
Yeah.
You see like the dude unloading it, and it's like a full on like he can't even start it. The bike's never ran, but like
Yeah.
he's an invited whatever, right? And he's pulling it in. You're like, cool. Nobody, sorry. Like I liked to see the difference and then all at the same, and everybody respected everybody.
Yeah.
So like on your point where you're saying doesn't make me better, like there's nothing anybody in my experience or just watching except for like a couple dudes that you could say, hey, that's any better than what that dude's doing, because maybe that dude can only afford to do that, or maybe
Yeah.
his knowledge skill set can only make him make that one thing happen or whatever, but he did it, right? Like he did whatever he needed to do.
Yeah.
And
So I what I was kind of alluding to earlier was when we were growing up, or when I was growing up, and I went to a show and I saw someone that did something that was kind of like out of my price range or whatever, instead of like going back on the internet and saying it's stupid because
Yeah.
I can't afford it.
Right.
I just like would show like man, that's dope. One day I hope to get to that level.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of social media, more people are trying to change the narrative to fit their lifestyle instead of fitting what is and has been cool in our industry.
Yeah,
You know
I think
what I'm
it's
saying?
come a long way. Like having a shop now, right? Like I get to see people that don't even have an Instagram. They just call the number off of Google.
Yeah.
And it's, some hell yeah brother. And he comes in the shop and he sees all the stuff that I've got going on. He's like, what the hell is that? And
Yeah.
he's like, why are your bars looking like that? And I'm like, sit on it. He's like, well, hell, that ain't too bad. Like it's come a long way to, but
Even
it's,
my dad was like that.
yeah. I mean, we worked on his dad's bike and we put bars and stuff on it.
But he sat on my bike, and of course, my dad is like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say he's one of those hell yeah brothers, but he's definitely that older generation, right?
He's a biker, yeah.
Yeah, and he sits on my bike with the T-bars on it, and he's like, man, I like the way this feels.
Yeah. And then they get that, that different seat and, the controls are for your feet in a different position. So there's plenty of space to grow within this space, but it also has come a long way to have people respect what we're doing, but also like there's tons of potential to do it differently.
Yeah.
And not try to be better than anybody, just doing what you think is cool for yourself.
Do you feel like right now with like performance bikes, like we've hit a threshold where like there's nothing new?
No, there is. It's just
Okay.
what are you willing to do and how ballsy are you willing to get to put
Yeah.
your neck on the line? Like, not to jump too quick, but not to brag either.
Yeah.
But my FXR Tour bike, I feel, is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
That is, I'm just repeating what I was told, right? That's a ballsy ass move. You know what I'm saying? Putting a speed dealer swing arm on a dish tank with a Springer front end
Yeah.
on a completely see-through, like, wide open frame. Like, is that performance? Don't know.
Yeah.
Is it chopper? I don't know. But it's what I wanted to do, and I'm just gonna do it.
Isn't that supposed to be what choppers is?
Yeah, it's just supposed to be whatever the fuck, whatever
Yeah.
you want. Do what you think is cool and don't care about what anybody has to say.
I love
about
it.
Yeah.
Like when you originally started the FXR Tour concept, I think all of us in the group chat were just kind of like, okay, well, which direction are you going to take with this, right? Are you going to do this or that? When I saw the Springer front end, I was like, I fucks with this, dude.
Yeah.
It was.
And it's funny because I had so many battles, right?
Yeah.
With that concept, not internal battles, but like with people like that I trust before I told anybody kind of what I wanted to do, and they're like, "That's not gonna work. No, you're out of your. That's disgusting. That's gross. You're stupid.
Well,
you should do this."
Yaniv
So I'm like,
did that one last year,
Yeah.
and it was fucking dope. Like
Right.
that was one of my favorite FXR
Yeah.
chopper builds, and it wasn't anything extravagant, but the see-throughness of it,
Yeah.
the Springer front end, no battery.
Yeah, and
you
even
know.
that's still, I feel like a little different. I mean, he definitely
Yeah,
inspired.
definitely. It's
Yeah, he
definitely-
definitely inspired like the openness of like cutting your battery box, no oil tank, like Evo bagger drivetrain, like perfect. But then like you start adding all the other elements of
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, like
I think
I got
that
pretty horny off the idea. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was thinking about it, like so the whole concept started when like I caught COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then you dropped that bomb on me at Cowboy, and then I got sick, right?
Yeah.
So I was stuck in the house in my room watching TV, and I was like, man, let me watch a little biker build off shit. And then like the Indian Larry thing popped back up, and I was looking through all the old Easy Rider magazines, and I was like, it'd be really fucking cool to do like a FXR chopper, like not a tribute bike, but an inspirational bike, like drawing from like the old school stuff. And I was like, it's got to have a dish tank, it's got to have a Springer front end. I didn't know that I was going to start doing like the performance-ish parts on it. I thought I was going to just stick with like really super old school stuff, but I couldn't find a majority of what I wanted to use. And then like sponsors started jumping in. Hey man, can you, sure, I'll try to make that work. And so I drew it out in my room, and I was like, that looks kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's just different. And then I started telling my mechanic about it, and he's like, he's kind of weary about it because he has his own style. Like, everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
But then, like, when he seen the drawing, he was like, all right, let's try it. I was like, man, we're going to try it.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, right? Is that's truly what building a bike for yourself is, and not building a bike for like you want people to like your shit, right?
Yeah.
That's the point. You want them to like it, but if you do what they already like, then it's kind of like a sure win.
It's a scroll.
But
there's no progression. It becomes stagnant.
Yeah.
And it doesn't push the boundaries of what is this. It's like I think the internet on top of the type of bikes we ride have just, the tribalism has just been so much. And I've been guilty of that, of perpetuating that and putting it out there that way too, because this is something I'm kind of realizing through my last year of life, right? But it's like right now with my build, there's things I want to do that, like, I never thought I'd buy another set of vape hangers the rest of my life, right? I don't think that I'm going to do it on this bike, but I definitely thought about it. I'm like, could it be there? And I haven't even thought about bars yet, because once the stance is done, I want to sit on it with the tank and figure out where I want my hands, right? And I just, even though my build, we were just talking about, my build is starting to worry me now.
Don't worry, mine is too, and we'll get to that.
It's fun because I'm not trying to fit in any box. You know what I mean?
Same. Like,
I'm just building something I want.
Right, exactly, and that's the whole point of, and I stopped using performance motorcycle. I stopped doing that because ultimately there's like a handful of dudes who have a real performance bike and they're probably on the racetrack.
Yeah.
But that's a race bike.
Yeah.
You know, you can have performance parts just like on a car or a truck or whatever, but at the same time, you're not going to rag your stuff out every time you get on it. Like, just because you have a pipe, just because you have all that, like, those are all given. It's just now there's a certain style, I feel like, or a certain look you're trying to accomplish. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change your riding. It doesn't change how I feel about your bike, or I don't even care what your bike honestly is. Like, you know, like, even as like me being a bike builder, quote unquote, like, I just want to do what I think is cool, like, and not give it a name, not be in that box. Just like, hey man, I want to hit the tank with a hammer. Let's try it. Yeah. Like, why not?
Well, I think, I don't know. To go back to your original question, the way I look at it from someone that's obviously not a builder, just a rider, and I'm putting performance parts in my bike, and being part of that scene, I go back and I look at some of the older bikes, especially the California club style, and I don't really see much of a progression to where we are now. But then you guys taking FXRs and turn them into choppers or whatever the case may be, I feel like that is going to help push the boundaries more. If there's going to be any change in the performance scene, it's what you guys are doing.
And to be fair, like, there's a handful of really famous FXR choppers that,
it's not new.
It's
just
not new.
A different take of it.
There's California, the Midwest. There's a bunch of badass ones in Florida.
Sure.
I think that it's just, New York for sure. I think it's just it's a good bike to build from, and it really can be anything. Yeah. I think I've always said that the Sportster was the most modular bike that Harley makes, because it's the cheapest bike and it can literally be anything. It can chop, performance, tour. It can do everything.
Bobber,
it
cafe,
can stunt.
flat track.
It's a very versatile bike, and I think FXR is next on the list in that, where it can really check a lot of different boxes. And when Justin and I came up with the whole tour thing, it was literally, we crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's with, like, okay, after this year, then what? Do we do another FXR, or do we do a bagger one? Well,
I would stay with the FXR.
FXR, because if you have to ask somebody, a new builder, to go buy a new bagger or even a used bagger, like, it's just so much money to get involved in that. When FXR, I picked up my frame for $800. You know what I mean?
Damn, dude.
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I get deals and I didn't even pay I paid more than that.
I mean, Corey's fixing all the reasons why it was
everybody hit up Jace when you want an FXR frame.
Damn, dude.
But it's like the FXR, I think, I said it on the Cruisy podcast a lot of time. I think for builders nowadays, an FXR is a rite of passage.
Yeah, if you can't take that and do something cool, you probably shouldn't have even started. And not to sound like, oh man, you have to do that, but you kind of have to.
Yeah.
And see, that's kind of where I am, because in my evolution, which I've only been in this industry, or not industry, but in this game, I guess you could call it, for 4 years now. And now I'm to that point where I've told him, I say, hey, look, I'm ready to buy, a cheap, beat up FXR if I can find one and completely redo it. So I just want that knowledge
and the experience. So like that's one of the things I've tried to tell people. It's like, for instance, like I need my bikes to work no matter what. So when I travel, I usually have obligations on my trips, like whether it's a podcast or an event or something. So rolling the dice of whether or not this FXR is going to make it, which I've never had an issue with an FXR traveling. But for some people, like they're not able to fix things on the fly. Like I was able to fix a shit ton of stuff on my first FXR on the fly on the road. So, and also with the network of people I know that have shops, it was, easy to be like, okay, I got to pull this whole primary off. Let me run it to your shop real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I've told you before, like I always felt like an FXR was a mechanic's bike.
Yeah.
You have to have some type of mechanical experience to, especially carbureted. You know, shit's going to go wrong. It happens all the time. You have to know how to like put a Band-Aid on it to get to that next shop or whatever, just so you can keep trucking. Like, but yeah, we definitely should keep the FXRs.
Yeah, it's definitely, it needs to stay FXR.
And and even if I'm like not a part of like the official whatever, like I'm gonna probably do it like every year because I just want to keep pushing myself to see like it just keeps it exciting for me like mentally because I'll get bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just something to do that's not.
What would be dope is like every year, whether it stays exactly the same and starting in destinations.
Yeah.
If every year, like the other people from the year before start coming out and doing the ride again with their previous bikes.
I'm in.
So, I mean, if I can't make it this year,
maybe
I might have to make it next year.
I think, and that's just gonna be cool too. I like the fact that you are doing that, meeting up in Durango, Colorado, and riding up because it kind of represents. I even went back and watched some of those old chopper build offs with like Indian
sick.
Larry
Yeah, dude, it's
and what was his name in Florida? Billy Lane.
Lane.
Yeah, when they had to ride it to the you had to ride the bike to the destination for it to be judged. So I think that's like cool. So I'm so excited.
So you brought up the Indian Larry, Billy Lane. Did you see like when he was having issues with his bike and he had to help him? And he's like, we can call it quits and you can win right now. He's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the mentality like of this FXR tour.
Yeah.
I
think right now, like especially once Sturgis is kind of wrapped up, the chat's gonna be dinging all day. I'm gonna start reaching out to everybody for help for the things that I need help with.
Yeah.
And
right now it's just Justin showing us his parts.
and pretty much saying fuck everybody else in these parts. Justin. Let me know if you want to know those routes.
Yeah, and then
on your trip.
The last one he posted in there, he's like, "Time's ticking, ladies," or something. I was like, I'm not even gonna like this. I'm just gonna let him know that I read it, and I'm gonna move on. Like, we all know time's ticking. Thanks, bud. Like,
everybody's got a machine shop.
Print,
right?
print.
Yeah, he's like, copy, edit, paste. Oh, no.
He found all those designs on fucking Reddit or something. Downloaded vector files.
Yeah, he's on Fiverr paying some dude in Indonesia.
Had to hook up with MJK.
He scored some OG MJK fucking files on the dark web.
Oh, the dark web.
But no, it's it's scary. I mean, it is scary now, and I mean everybody was up my ass about it, because I was working on customizing the Softail to do that and all the obligations I had this summer. And they're like, oh, you need to be on it. I'm like, hey, look, I know I need to be on it. But the way I set this up is I intended, and I think we're still on schedule, I should have my frame back from Corey in August. And then from that point on, it's just like it's all the parts that I need to order. Yes.
And working out the kinks.
And the kinks, get everything on. I want to do it. I want to build it the way that Corey did his, where he literally puts the entire thing together.
Have to.
Rides it.
Yeah, you have to.
Works out kinks and then disassembles 100% and does all the coatings.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and
you
so
have to.
That's kind of what I want to do on this as well. So I'm hoping to basically right around my birthday at the end of September, be at the point where I'm, putting it all together.
Yeah, the mock-up assembly. That's kind of where I'm at right now is mock-up assembly. So that way, like, if I need to cut anything else off or if I need to shave this or whatever, like, I'm not messing with finishes.
I am going to weld. Matt has a TIG welder, so I am going to weld something onto the frame just so people will get off my nuts. You know what I mean?
Well, that's back to what we were saying. Like,
I am a fabricator.
Yeah, you can't do everything.
Well, it's not even that you can't do. It's what I don't like about the stigma of bike builder is, put it like this. Like, are you a fabricator?
Nope.
I'm not a fabricator.
But have I fabricated? Sure.
Exactly, I have as well. So I've actually made an exhaust system before.
Right. I've used rattle can, but I'm not a painter.
Exactly. So there's all these aspects where I think that, I know people that are known builders in this industry, and I'm not trying to put them on blast. I'm not saying their name or anything.
Yeah.
That literally do nothing but assemble the bike. They don't paint. They don't fabricate.
They don't build the motor.
They don't do any of that. They don't build the motor. They just put it together.
They don't even mount the tires.
And they're builders.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm honestly agree. Yes. I think that there's like this part where vision
You have to build.
and execution is what I think the builder, I think that's the priority of having a builder title, right? And then the aspect of how you go about getting it done.
Right.
Nobody remembers the person that built the building. They always remember the architect.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. And it's the same for what we do, right? Like, did I weld my frame? No. I had Xavier do it. Did I make my tank tabs? No, but I went to his shop. I held it up. I said, hey, we're going to put this exactly like this. What's the best way? And he goes, well, you tell me what you think. I was like, well, I think we should just tab it right here. I don't have the equipment to do all that, right? So I'm not just going to shit it out,
Yeah.
You have to call people in to help you accomplish your dream, and that's what building is. You're building a team to build a bike, and that's the goal. Like, I don't need all the fame. I don't need all the credit. I have no problem saying, yeah, Xavier, help me with my tank. Sure.
Yeah, and I think
but it doesn't stop.
It's like you said earlier, like you're not trying to pull this curtain back of all the people that helped you create something.
Yeah.
And that's been the industry for a long time, and I think that's why people's stigma of a builder is this or not that, because they don't tell people all the truths.
And a majority of the people who have things to say have never done a single thing in their entire life.
Well, if you try to stick with that stigma, I mean, everybody pretty much has to be Jesse James. So in order to build,
And
build
even
your
he
own
has a team
frame-
of people.
I mean, look at all the biker build-offs.
Yeah.
They have a team building it. Maybe one guy builds a fender because he's a good fabricator.
Right.
But then they buy wheels that were made somewhere else for that bike.
Right.
But it's just like what Jason said. The builder has the idea, and he is the one trying to build it. Just because they have that bike doesn't mean that they actually built it all 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And even if like you were mentioning, like the old biker build off stuff, if you watch, they did a really terrible job of like showing the team. So like while I was going through this journey of building this one and like learning the real history of like Indian Larry and his whole team, it would shock people to realize like what part he played and then like what part Paul Cox played and these other different people. And you're like, they didn't show any of that. And then like when I'm having these conversations with, you name them, they're like, yeah, if you watch the show, they show me in the background. And I'm like, well, that's not, it's not cool. And then like they're sending me pictures like from way back then, like, yeah, look, this was the original design for this tank. This is how it actually happened in the middle of the night when nobody was filming. Then I had to walk back in the morning and redo it again on another tank so that they could catch it on camera. You're like, damn, I didn't know that. Like, so to hide those people it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I've got there's shops here in Dallas that I used to customize bikes for them that they would sell to people or for people. And if I ever posted things online for it, they would get up my ass because they didn't want anybody to know that I was doing the work.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So that stigma has been in our industry for forever, right? And it sucks because what that does is not only it discredits the people that do create the work and do the stuff, but it creates a narrative that this person is this all powerful, omniscient being of like customizing motorcycles.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those people don't exist. Like there are people that are very multifaceted. I think most of us have a skill. Like I can do some mechanic work. I can assemble and customize and modify. Definitely not my strong suits, but I can do more than just one thing. Like I can do all the wrenching and I can do all the painting and assembling. Well, so Justin can design all these different parts and make those parts and assemble and wrench and do some of the mechanics as well. Same as you. You know what I mean? So it's like we all have a little bit. We're all mechanically inclined. Like that's. It's not like
it's not rocket science, to be honest.
It isn't. I mean, you're working on tractor motors, basically, right?
It's exactly what it is, and you
So-
just try to make them look fancy.
It's like I wish people like. That I've already, because no mean comments, but like I've had those snarky, like I thought you were building this bike, and I'm like, I mean, I could have made it look that way.
Yeah, But what's the fun
We
of
could have
that?
done that.
Because what ends up happening is like, and we kind of talked a little bit about this on the way up here. If I have to step on everybody to pretend like I'm somebody, the rest of those people actually go away, and then I turn into nobody.
Right.
That's a good one. Just
Because
put that on a shirt.
well, it's true. Like if and so like I'll bring this up, I guess. So like having a shop now in Austin, there's other shops in my area. If I had to build my business off of taking their business, then that's bad business. Mm-hmm. If I was willing to find ways that I can collaborate with that shop, that maybe you offer this service that I don't offer, but I can get me 90% there and then take it to you for like a dyno, then why wouldn't we collaborate? Why wouldn't I offer your service and not be ashamed to be like, yeah, I don't have any dynoing experience. I don't have a dyno, don't want one, have no ambition of ever having one. Why not have that conversation so we can push the envelope and both of us as a whole just take care of that one customer or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing is like, why not collaborate with other painters? Why do you need to hide who does your work? Why do you need to hide who fabricated your frame? Why? It's dumb. You know, it's kind of like child stuff, I feel like.
It is. It's ego shit. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. It's man, it's a tough one, man, because at the end of the day, like,
you're not going to lose anything from
You're
show.
not,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, if you just support and stay true, nothing will ever be taken from you. Like, that's just how it goes. Like, I have no problem saying, yeah, Xavier helped me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem admitting, like, yeah, okay, yeah, I had people give me parts. I mean, I'm not rich. I mean, nobody can do, you know, like, I'm sorry, but even back in the day, they were given a lot more than what we're given today.
oh yeah. Now you get like a discount on a part. It's like, we give you 10 off a dealer, you know, like, oh, thanks, man. I can't wait to promote your shit. You know,
or they just don't hit you back.
Oh, you're not a chick. Oh yeah, it's retail, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'll throw a shirt in though.
Yeah, but if you wear a shirt for us, we'll do free shipping.
Yeah.
I ran across that. I know we haven't got there yet. But talking about the camp out, talking about individual sponsors, and I reached out to a company, and that company, I will not mention their name, but yeah, they were kind of like that, very snarky about that.
And they wanted like physical contracts.
Yeah, they wanted actual contract.
Like, this is not a business, bro. Like, this is for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the FXR tour. Like, so I have a question.
Huh?
So anybody can ride with us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are people that are like building their own little scene, right?
So all right, so me and Justin need to do this, but I find a way to get Justin back here around September is the goal, and we want to do another podcast that has all the other information about the tour, talking about hotels we're going to be staying at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, are we gonna put it?
Like, we're going to put all the information out there probably in September. We're still working out the kinks. When I did the trip to Born Free, I stopped in Amarillo and hung out with John Stromberg, Lucky 7 Cycles up there, and he showed me the area. I think that Amarillo is going to be a fucking rager
because there's nothing really to do. I mean, like,
they got a scene, dude.
Yeah, but there's nothing as far as like what we have, like city. Like, it's not like this crazy thing. So it's so concentrated, and that's what makes it really.
So
fun.
they have like a little
out.
bar district on their Route 66, and it's like all biker bar stuff. And it's almost like the way John made it seem is like they're trying to compete with where we're gonna be at.
That's tight.
Like, they all want us to be at their spot, right? And obviously, with the dealership, the Trips Harley up there, with us leaving Durango, that's the longest day. It's like 450 miles, right? The fast way. And there's no way we're just blasting highway. We got to make this cool, right?
You have to go through Albuquerque, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the fast way. We're not doing that.
Okay.
We're gonna go through like Taos and Pagosa Springs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's tight.
So it'll be more
bring a
scenic.
gas can.
Yeah, I definitely will be bringing a gas can. I don't know. My soft tail gets pretty good gas mileage though. We'll see if I get the bike done. See if Justin comes through for me.
I see where you're going with that.
Anyway,
just paint it like an FXR and just sneak your way in there.
Just tape some side covers to it, some Nest side covers. Be like, dude, I identify as
bro.
But no, we're gonna.
My bike, my choice.
We're definitely, I mean, the thing is, like, with Justin, and I'm kind of speaking for Justin, so, you know.
He doesn't really say too much anyway. So
well, I think that we've both been under a lot of just trying to do the normal things that we need to do as a brand in the motorcycle industry. Make it to Born Free, make it to Sturgis. Try to have something that you enjoy about motorcycles that's not work related. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all this juggling of stuff. And now that we're kind of coming into the last, 3 months, or 2.5 months to be real.
Yeah.
Until the
it's crazy.
the tour.
And I'm building 3 bikes for customers right now on top of trying to build my own bike.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I have, obviously we're going to Sturgis, not this week, but next week. And then I come back for that. I got to paint Corey's bike, for the barter deal that we did together. And then me and my boys have another 10-day trip that we got to do to wrap up the last 48 states. So it's like, I still have, and then we have the Austin thing with the MotoGP stuff, or not
week.
GP, but the
Bagger
Racing down there at Cowboy and stuff.
Yeah.
So
The
Right
race
after
week.
Labor Day.
That'll be fun though.
it's the 8th, like the weekend of the 8th, I believe.
Yeah, the weekend after.
Yeah,
Labor
that's
Day,
gonna be fun though.
Oh, it's gonna be fun, but
Yeah, I know. It takes time. I know.
basically what's gonna happen is I'm going to that, coming back, and then going on the 10-day trip. So the middle of my whole September is gone.
Right.
So I need to get.
That's like grind time too, like that month.
I'm gonna have to borrow money from somebody. I'm gonna have to borrow money from somebody to buy the shit that I need.
You have to release those
finish.
pictures you've been holding on to and really make some money, dude. Like, I know you had that camera. There's some shit on there you can make some money with.
Maybe. But yeah, my wife tried to get her to do an OnlyFans. She keeps getting these
I was talking
fake
about your feet, dude.
Oh,
I was talking about your feet.
I need another one.
But yeah, so like to mesh the first 2 parts, like running the business, what you're saying, and then trying to do stuff for fun. It's like you have to balance it out, but like your business pays for the fun, and then when you're having fun, you're not worrying about your business, and then like it's a struggle. It's a really tough struggle.
It is.
And then because of the FXR Tour, I had somebody reach out to me and they want me to build them a bike for the FXR Tour, and I'm staring at a frame, another one. And I'm like, I already have 2 but I can't say no because like,
you can
strike when the iron's hot.
No.
But
the
like,
one thing you'll learn. The one thing you'll learn is.
But I want to push myself. That's I have to. Like this
that's
first
fine
year.
if you accept the fact that you're pushing yourself, but you have to take. This is the one thing that like my boys at Paint Huffer always hit me up like, we need to do a class together. I'm like, I'll do a lecture. Like I'll do a class. I'll teach somebody how to. But I think that I can provide value to somebody by talking to them about how to carry yourself in this business. And it transitions to building things as well. It's like the most honest you can be up front is the best, because the last thing you ever want to do is sell false hope.
Yeah. And he asked me, he's like, hey, is there any way we can make it? I said, I'll do what I can. That's all I can do. He's like, what about a deadline? There is not one. Timeline, can't tell you. Because I don't know. I told him specifically, this is taking priority. If you're okay with that, we'll move forward. Cool. All right. Done deal.
It's a good place to be. I mean, most people realize the depth of how much you're going on a bike build. It's never put it like this. If it's January and you want to build a bike for Daytona, then you are accepting the terms that you want to pay almost double for everything to happen.
And it better be pretty much bolt on.
Exactly. When I mean double, not necessarily like labor. I'm talking about like
everything.
Get the parts, get everything
shipping.
in.
You're gonna have to expedite everything. I know because that's what I did my RD for Daytona. I was like, oh, I need these 4 bolts, $45, $30 in shipping. It's like, dang, I screwed myself. But if you set your mind on something, that's how I am. Like I'm very obsessive. Like if I say this is what it's gonna be, like I cannot let myself down. Like so, like when I committed to the FXR Tour. And then it snowballed into like all this stuff I've never done before, as far as like fabrication and like style and all this stuff. It just turns into like, damn.
I mean, realistically, like your RD is a dope bike. Right?
Yeah,
definitely can't keep up with us going to Sturgis and whatnot.
that wasn't the RD. That was my pink.
Oh,
bike.
that was your pink.
Yeah,
bike.
that's my pink bike. That was
my gosh.
Stock motor. No.
Hey, where's Rennie at? Oh, dude, he knows where the gas
I was
station is.
cruising and bruising.
That last day, I was like, you know what? I'm going with Jason. I'm going to rip it.
I was like,
I'm tired of hanging back.
I know where you're going, dude. Like, I'll see y'all later.
Just shows up.
Yeah. I was like, what's up, y'all? Like, putting your helmet on, taking mine off.
Luckily,
Like,
Jaden had a bad tire. That was the only person that stayed
No,
with him.
Jaden just isn't fast, dude. Jaden's always at the back. We
I
just
like-
give Jaden the fucking destination.
I
he
like
shows
that
up.
ride because it was cool. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't build that bike. You know, I just put some shit
You were
on
with us in Wichita when we were hanging out in the parking lot that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wichita.
That was
When
the
we
first-
all
that was
went
the
to
first
with
night.
Dirty Larry ended up like at that fucking bar.
Yep.
Yeah, we met up with y'all at the Applebee's.
That's right.
And then when you dropped your bike,
Yes, that is when I dropped my bike.
and then Trey dropped his bike the same day. I was like, hey, he's like, I'm Trey. I dropped my bike. I need help. I was like, cool.
What
And then my
everybody-
phone rings. He's like, hey, man, I dropped my bike. I was like, I'll be back. I gotta go pick
Well,
his bike
no,
up.
that wasn't in Wichita. That was in what was that place in northwestern Nebraska?
Oh, that was starts with it. So it's Alliance in the next town, and then that's when you kind of like get right into the
Yeah.
Custer State Park area. I know what you're talking about, but
Y'all had stopped at that restaurant we had met y'all at. Because
Yeah.
him and I came in late.
Yeah.
We met y'all at that restaurant, and then everybody shot to the hotel. I got stopped by a light. And I'm like, crap, where'd everybody go? And I'm like looking for it because I'm looking for bikes, everything. And I passed a hotel and I went behind it and I did a U-turn up a ramp. that led to
behind like a business.
Yeah, and,
Like a
and
loading dock.
on the way down, the bike just lost speed and just fell over. So I called Rennie. I'm like, hey, dude, I need some help because all my gear's on the bike. I'm
He
like,
was
there's
tired.
no way I can pick this thing up
His
myself.
bike was tired. Took a nap.
Yeah,
you know they got chicks that like do these little videos where they show you.
yeah, I did. What?
It's like
Chicks. You should throw that in there. Like,
yeah, it's like how they start their YouTube channels.
I call him. He comes over there. Cody comes over there. Cody just picks the damn thing up by himself, just yanks it up off
He's
the
like,
ground.
he's like, what's wrong with you, James? He's like, come on, man, let's go. Picked it up.
I was like,
Cool, dude.
Thanks for making me feel weak.
Them East Texas boys, they got retard strength. So
All they do is eat coon. This shit's got hormones in it.
fuck. I don't know where I was going with that.
Who knows? You said I was slow.
It was
My
Wichita-
you said my RD was tight, but it couldn't keep up.
Oh,
with
okay,
surges.
yeah. So what I was kind of in the reason, like, you know, I thought so when we first announced the FXR Tour, there was a lot of questions like, why didn't this person or this person, blah blah blah, things like that happen. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about these are custom motorcycles,
Yeah.
right? They're not restored motorcycles. If
Right.
you're restoring a motorcycle,
That's cool though.
that
Like, that has
that's
its
cool.
own-
It's got
that's
its
its own
place,
thing.
but
Yeah.
we can't put that in this place where people are trying to innovate and push the boundaries of custom
Right.
and ride them, and you're showing up with a Candy Glide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
doesn't fit. So if you want to kind of operate in this space, then you have to think of this as, how do I make this something different than it came from factory?
Right.
I mean, if you run a factory paint job, cool, as long as it ain't factory sheet metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just got you can't.
That's what my thing was. So like when I saw you at Cowboy Harley and you walked up and you're like, hey man, I got this wild idea, and I was like, 3 words in, I was like, I'm in. You're like, well, let me. I was like, no, I'm in. Like, I'm what? We're gonna do what now? I'm good. Let's do it. I had no idea at all that I would be doing what I'm doing now. Like, even when I got the frame, I had the idea, but I was like, there's just not enough time. Like, there's not enough money. There's not enough blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm just starting this business. Da, 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 da. But now I'm like, I'm glad I did, because like, it's good. I'm so excited. Like I said, I got horny just off the idea of like this bike, because I'm so excited to see it like finally come alive. And then at the same time, everybody's bike is coming alive, but it's so like everybody is so different.
Yeah.
And I'm so stoked to just see them like all riding together on the highway, like looking over and being like, fuck, this is tight. Like, it's gonna be sick.
When I saw you dent in the side of the tank, I knew right then. I was like, well, clearly he's not going with the factory paint. So he's not going with the factory tint. So he's doing something different.
Yeah,
and I was kind of excited for that.
Yeah.
And then I saw you get the raw fender in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So this is going to have, a good custom paint job on it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be a tribute bike. Like, I have always tried to make sure I can say that. Like, it's not a tribute bike. It's an inspired style. You know, just trying to pay homage.
You're channeling your inner Indian Larry.
Yeah. A little bit.
So that's kind of the concept, is like, you want to try to get people to customize bikes, and then you want people, the other thing that was kind of like, some people expressed opinions of this, which I thought are valid, but I'll give you their opinion and my take on it. A lot of people are like, well, you pick the end of the year to show off something they spent all year doing. I'm like, well, but if we made you do Sturgis, then you wouldn't have enough time.
Right.
If
Not
we make
just
you
that,
do Born Free,
it would lose
Cali.
It would lose attention.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like if this was built for Sturgis, we might be in one parking lot or whatever, right? Or one venue, and then like there's 330,000 different things going on at the same time that you might think is a little bit cooler because it has this bigger name attached to it, that all of a sudden it's not getting the recognition or attention that it deserves.
Yeah. And I had a big talk with I ended up running into Big Joe that does the FXR show while we were passing through Sioux Falls, I think it was, where they had the JL Harley thing. We talked a bit, I'm a big fan of him, and the FXR show in Sturgis is a staple, right?
Yeah, it is.
And we talked about it. He has a confined space there. And the way that I want these bikes to be displayed everywhere we go, it's just not possible in that spot. Yeah. And that show is that show.
That has, I was just going to say, that has its own notoriety.
Exactly.
And being that Born Free is in Texas, obviously, right, it makes sense. But because that show is so small, from a business standpoint, if you wanted to scale this or expand it or grow it and make it its own thing, that's the perfect attachment to go to.
Yeah.
Because it is so new, so small, but it's also so big at the same time that it has all this growth potential. Like, why not attach yourself to that?
And the other thing is, like, with us, like, especially next year and going forward, like, these are the things we got to think about. It's harder for someone on the East Coast to compete when they have to show up on the West Coast to go ride to the center of the country. So the more central you can make everything, because you want everybody to build a bike and show up, right?
Yeah.
But we're not like, hey, we're starting in San Francisco, so
Right.
poor old Unit 6 up there has got to go all the way to San Francisco to go all the way back.
Chat, he has his own slang.
Yeah.
And I have to copy paste, submit it in Google, and be like, what does this actually mean? But that dude he's building. He's doing
shit.
it. Yeah. He's doing it. He's absolutely committed. He's gonna bring some shit, and I'm like, I'm excited.
Well,
Well, I mean, it would be kind of cool if y'all could get those bikes. Whoever keeps them, it doesn't sell them, but
I'm not selling mine.
Just bring them Sturgis next year.
No, so I think that we've got some things set up. Tommy and I have been talking about an event down in Austin that we'll be able to display the bikes. I'm sure that we can definitely display the bikes.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of potential.
We have connections in Daytona to do it as well with Tommy and Teddy owning the Daytona Harley now.
Yeah,
we can make things happen, but we got to make this the build's got to happen, and that's got to happen, and then the other things can happen.
Got to get married first before you have your honeymoon.
Yeah,
that's how that goes.
Honeymoon's never as good as the first time. But no, like I said, it's got potential, and I'm just really stoked at how many people are stoked about it. I mean, Saddlemen, they're planning to they're building FXRs right now, and they just want to come ride with us.
That's tight.
And I got to hang out there, their whole facility with the old West Coast Shoppers place. They got some killer FXRs, dude.
Yeah.
And they're FXR people.
Yeah.
100%. And
that's what's so cool about the people that you did pick, because yes, they've done one before, but it's I felt like everybody had one kind of bottled up in them that now they're like, here we go.
I'll tell you exactly what I can't speak for Justin on this, but my idea of who we pick, it's a balance of this. If you take me and Justin out of the mix, I want 4 to 5 people to have the notoriety to carry the class.
Absolutely.
Right? I need a LeBron James, a fucking this, and this. Yeah. I want 4 people to 5, depending on the Versa, of up-and-coming people that need the opportunity to get themselves out there, right?
And that are trying to not compete.
Opportunity.
They're trying to
just show off their skill set.
Not show off, but they're trying to be able to have their name in that same conversation as those other brands. And that's what pushed me, because I was like, well, I just can't show up with anything because look who's going to be there.
Right. Sometimes the hardest, when you're starting your brand or you're growing it, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to get being an invited builder. Something, it means a lot because it pushes you to do something outside of your normal.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, you're usually just building something for a customer or yourself, and when you get invited to build something for an event or for a reason, it kind of opens up a new can of worms with who you are and where you're trying to take your shit.
Yeah. Right.
And that's something that Justin and I have always felt like we would love the opportunity to have been that for other events and things like that. It just never came to us.
Right.
More so, I mean, it would probably come to Justin way quicker than it ever come to me because I'm not looked at as that.
Well,
right?
he can print his own invitation.
Exactly.
So, like, makes it simple and easy, you know?
I'll make the trophies for your event if I can be a builder. But so with that being said, it's like, okay, well, we understand what it's like to be somebody that's scratching at the door of opportunity. So we want to try to create something that gives people an opportunity to show up, you know, because that's the other thing. It's like I know a lot of people that get opportunities left and right and never fucking show up.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind that they keep getting opportunities.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I'm not mad at them. I don't hate them. It's nothing like that. But it's just, man, like if I had that opportunity, I would fucking put everything I had into that. You know what I mean?
That's basically where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so we want to create an event, or we want this to kind of move forward where it does create that kind of situation. And so, yeah, if I feel like somebody's not going to take it seriously, we're not going to fucking invite you to be a builder.
Yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
at the same time, like, I take it extremely serious, but I'm having so much fun doing it. Like that stupid little video I posted on Friday where I'm like, hello, this is my update. And I'm like, yeah, this is my chain drive, but it's like obviously a belt drive, you know? Just having fun. Like,
Yeah.
That's why I started doing all this, was to have fun. And that's what's more fun than building bikes with friends and, you know, people in the industry. And like, that shit's fucking cool. Like
It's supposed to be fun, right?
It's supposed to be. Like,
And so, like,
it's just motorcycles.
even the group chat, like the group chat's kind of up and down, but when
Yeah.
it first started, it was fucking fire.
Yeah, but
And
now
then-
people are like, they're working on their shit, and they're like, you know, like, this is frustrating to me. I'm not gonna respond with an emoji anymore. Like, you're getting a middle finger, you know. Like, my shit ain't lining up straight, you know.
But yeah, that's what it's about, is like creating that. And that's why moving forward, like we want to try to create fun, you know, and we want it to be fun, and we want everybody to take it seriously. And you know, it's, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, even Bare Knuckles' bike is starting to take shape.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
tank
looking
he
fucking
just did,
dope.
that shell.
Ooh.
The way he followed like that line, I was like, oh shit.
I think Brian finally posted
He
a picture.
posted, yeah, I reposted like, finally, Queen showed her hand, or cards or whatever. He's like, I'm posting this before I get kicked out. It's like, it's like that dude. He's like, cut him off. He's like, no, man, I'm drinking water. I'm good. I can hang out. You're like, oh, bro.
But it is exciting, though. I mean, especially for people like myself who watch this and is not directly involved, but, you know, friends with you, and seeing your bike and seeing the Instagram stories that you post and seeing the YouTube videos that Justin's posting. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, you know these people, and you get to see what they build, and you get to see them ride it, you know, halfway across the country, not completely across the country,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and
Depends on if you like turn it like
Yeah,
north and
exactly.
south. It's kind of full.
So do you plan on trailering
No.
too? Okay, cool.
Well, so there is, like, we did have this thing. It's like you can't show the bike at another event.
Yeah,
you can't
right,
take
right.
it to Sturgis
Right,
and put it in the FXR show.
Can it be in the parking lot? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
I guess it's like it is that way, right? But I don't like to think I'm bending the rules, but I do plan to ride my bike to the Terralingo run and
Yeah, I
then
think
from
you
there
mentioned that.
up to that, because it's literally the
that's what I was
Sunday.
gonna do, yeah.
It's the weekend before we got it. So
So you're doing like a sissy bar on yours, or
yeah, sissy
Are you?
bar. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a sissy bar, and then I want to make it like removable, like with bolts.
Are you doing like a really like wild ass like?
No,
chopper?
no.
Oh, okay.
It'll be whatever fits the bike, but just so I can
Okay.
put a bag on it
Right,
to carry
right.
my shit. So
You know, it's gonna be really fun, like riding these with like no windshield, no fairing.
I got a fairing on mine. It's a
Are
little,
you?
it's a little small,
I
little,
ain't gonna do nothing, dude.
but I put the neck up so it's like blocking the wind straight. in my face.
Oh yeah, your frame's your fairing.
Yeah. My
in
tank
October in
is.
Yeah,
Colorado.
your tank. Yeah, I'm excited.
But so the other thing is, like, for me with the build is it's like we were talking about earlier about the people that we know. It's like now that I'm kind of looking at this bike, I'm starting to think of like I never plan on selling this bike. This is the bike
I
that
don't
I want to
either.
keep for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, and I want to pull any favors, any cards from any friend that I have that does something special. I kind of want this bike to have hands. Like, I want to find a way to get FXR Mike to make something for this bike.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everybody that I know, like, have a hand in helping me have this.
It might get him like
Back into it.
spark
Yeah.
back. You know what I mean?
But just to kind of bring me, like, to make the most sentimental version of this bike so that I also don't ever have the inclination to sell it. Because I really don't want to sell this bike.
I've already told myself, like, even though I'm that guy who gets rid of stuff, I'm not going to get rid of this.
You're not going to raffle it?
No, I'm not going to raffle it. I'll raffle Jason's feet pics before I do that. But like my plan is like I want to ride this bike. Like I want to treat it like as if it was like my RD, for example. Like, hey man, I'm going to start. Cool, I'm jumping on this bike because I've worked so mentally and like financially hard to make this happen that they went through this back in the day. Like nobody's willing to pay for what you've just gone through. Period. You might value it way up here. The minute you put a dollar amount on it, you're going to get shut down and feel like dog shit.
Your soul, and plus all the sweat equity is into that bike.
All of it.
You can't. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I don't think you can get that amount, that monetary value out of that.
Yeah, and then to have like brands jump in and like believe in you, it's like that's special in its own. To where like that's a story. You know what I mean? That's a forever bike.
I'm hoping that like I want to take my bike and do the down south camp out with it and do the whole Key West run with it.
Really?
So my whole intention was to ride the Softail for this year and then sell it at the end of the year. And but that's with the idea that the FXR will be done, and then that will be the bike that I ride until whatever ends up happening with Harley next year on the baggers. So, but yeah, I kind of want this bike to be the bike that I keep. I was gonna put this on my little Patreon episode, but like next year I'm doing everything differently. I'm doing less of everything.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
We had that same conversation again on the way up here. Like I'm in this like balancing act right now where it's like I'm running a business, but I'm also like fighting my inner like what did I want the business to be, not what it's turning into.
Yeah.
And so like what I've figured out, and I understand why like other shops have kind of like not hidden the closet, but they're just in the shop. Like they're not worried about so-and-so and what event or this hangout or that ride, or like they're just about their business. And I don't want it to overtake me to where it's all about business, because the business was built off of having fun.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard, but I've figured it out already, like in the ride up here and all that other stuff. Like I just need to trim the fat.
Yeah.
Because it's starting to like get heavy. You know what I mean? I just need to dial it back a little bit, go back to what inspired me to do this to begin with, and then like get back to enjoying everything that comes with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like, without saying too much, like, it's just I want to do what I signed up for. That's all.
No, that's exactly it. I think on that same note with what I'm thinking about for myself, this year started like with the YouTube, it was going, and I've been recording everything. I have content, like I got a video for everything we've done.
Yeah.
I haven't had time to do any editing.
Yes.
I literally just said that
Yeah,
way
so
up here. I was like, I haven't seen a YouTube video.
Yeah,
in a
so
while.
I still have the entire content from Terralingo last year.
Oh, that you haven't edited yet? Yeah.
Yeah, so I
have the
started
whole
a
thing.
channel, right? I have stuff that I filmed, and Scott, actually last night, he's like, what's up with the first video? I'm like, dude, sorry. Like, I had this idea, and then I figured out, like, maybe that's not who I am, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just need to find a different way of showing people what I'm actually doing.
Well, that's kind of on me too, because I was.
Well, yeah,
I told him like.
He got me all fired up.
Yeah, because I was like, look, I said I'm finally moving to Austin. As soon as I get there, I'll get my GoPro, get to your shop, and like, we'll do some FXR Tour updates on your bike. We'll do like a weekly video or whatever. I've been so busy, and I've just not gone to a shop and shot any video footage at all. Nice. And it's just it's just one of those things. Like you're busy, he's busy, everybody's busy. Yeah. And it's just, and for me, and I'm sure you could attest, sitting down and editing video to me is just mind numbing. I can't. It just drives me crazy.
It's time consuming. I do enjoy it because that's the creative place. Shooting a video is like, you want to be creative in creating and capturing it, but the editing is where you get to shine as like your flavor, your style and whatnot. Right. You have to look at it that way. For me though, it's like I just don't have time. And then so my whole desk computer setup to do this is in my garage. It doesn't have air conditioner.
Oh yeah, so it's hot.
Yeah. And so I only have like in the middle of the night or early in the morning to edit videos, and I haven't been here. So You know, it's just been a lot of things. Like, I do want to go down that path, and I do want to be more in that. So I'm trying to figure out how to structure my life to facilitate that. You know, I don't plan on having the shop at the end of the year. Like, I plan on shutting the shop down, the studio, everything by the end of the year.
Oh, really?
I have no idea what's after that. The podcast can continue to go on,
Sure,
obviously, but I don't know. I don't want to paint anymore. I keep saying that, and people keep taking it so literally because I say it literally. I'm still going to paint bikes and stuff. Like, Matt has a full paint shop at his place. We'll still paint things through other channels. It's just going to be harder than it already is.
Kind of like what you just
to
did
get
this
a fast
past
life
week.
job. You know what I mean? Huh?
Kind of like what you just did this past
I mean,
week.
if somebody wants to do a full-on bagger or something like that, it's probably going to have to go through someone like Covington or, you know, through Matt at his shop. And they can get my artwork, but they don't get my paint work. I'm just going to sell artwork after this. No more paint work.
And that's tight.
Yeah.
That is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, was like the balancing act of how can you continue to do what you're wanting to do, but keep it fun while also adding these other things. It's just like cutting the fat out. Like, you don't, you know, like what you're saying, like, instead of you being down in your own paint booth, spending all these hours and all this time, you can come in and do what you're really good at and then walk away.
Yeah, I mean, I hate talking about money on this podcast because, like, people live in different parts of the country, so, like, this is a joke to them sometimes. But the $2,500 a month that this shop cost me, and I've literally only been here for maybe a week and a half for the last 2 months in this shop.
There's no return on investment.
Yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, my shop doubled. So, like, when I moved in, I had a shop partner that I was splitting the building with, and then for unseen circumstances, like 2 days notice was like, it's doubling on you and I'm out. I was like, I understand, but this is one of those things where I have to just do it.
Yeah. Sometimes the hardest, like it's kind of like kids, right? Like, you're never like, who plans to have a kid? Like, if you're planning to have a kid, it's because you can't have a kid.
If
right?
you plan on having a kid, you'll never have a kid.
No, if you plan on
have
having
to
a
wait
kid-
till you're financially stable
you
to
have-
have a
if
kid.
you-
You're just not
yeah,
having
It's
it.
idiocracy, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
If you plan on
Oh,
having
in
a
this
kid,
market?
Yeah.
you already have a house, you have a Tesla,
Yeah.
like, you have people call you by your last name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Dr. this or whatever, like, you know, like, they got money. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Like,
Oh, man.
I have 3, and not one of them was really planned
Yeah.
because they don't
Yeah.
call me by my last name.
They don't call you by your last name. That's
No,
a good one.
they
But yeah, so, you know, I think this year is it's dabbling in these other things in the world that I want to be a part of. And also, like, it's growing off of the successes of other things. Like, the podcast has been very successful over the last couple of years. The campout's been successful. And so how do you take those to the next level? I'm not wired to just allow things to stay the same.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I think not financially, but like in just growth wise, like I'm kind of like a corporation. Like, I need growth every year to
have
stay
to.
interested.
Right.
You
And
have
my
to
buddy,
evolve.
my buddy James, on this last trip, friends, we were drunk. It was Muskegon. We're laying in the bed, opposite beds, but with different dudes in the bed. And
How many dudes? No, I'm just kidding.
dude, it's 8 of us. We do
Different dudes. Like,
yeah,
wow,
it's
right.
it's 8 of us. We do 2 rooms, 2 beds per room,
Yeah, there
and
you
then
go.
we all sleep together. Super cool.
biker.
It only gets weird sometimes when someone's really drunk and they think you're a lady and like, hey babe, you know, like, dude, you got a penis.
Bro.
You're like, grab right here, grab right here. They're
It only happens once in a while.
Ask Trey and Rooney what that's like.
Calm down.
But you know, he kind of said some things that kind of resonated with me because it was kind of like a way to look at myself through his eyes. And you know, he said, like, you do this thing where, like, you get good at something, at least to your eyes or your like expectations, and you lose interest.
My mechanic told me that. He goes, it's like you bought a new jet ski, you took it out to the river or to the lake, you rode it a couple times, then you just put it up on the trailer and you just walk away.
Yeah.
He's like, because I see him every day, and he knows me even before the shop.
Yeah.
When I was just like the manager of the old shop, and he's like, dude, what's wrong with you today? You're not excited. I'm like, man, I'm not. Like, I rolled in here and I was like, screw this. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? Like, it's not fun anymore. All of a sudden, he's like, well, remember how bad you wanted this? And I was like, all right, fine, you're right. Like, and then, but so like I was at Lindahl the other day and I said this because he was telling me some stuff. I was like, you have to have these peaks and valleys so that way the river keeps flowing. Otherwise, it just turns into a lake and you just sit there. You're stagnant.
Yeah.
So without those highs and those lows, you feel nothing. You have to feel like, man, this is not going right. Man, this is too much. Or, hey, man, what more can I be doing? So that way, like, it keeps flowing. Otherwise, you just walk in, you're like, this is cool. This is cool. This is great. It's great. Like, you can't do
Everything
that.
works.
Right. When everything works, nothing works.
I imagine that's how Jesse James is. This works. Well, fuck, man. What do I do now?
Yeah.
I guess
That's why he's doing
Guess I'll make
knives.
guns.
Guns,
That's why he's
yeah.
doing guns.
Yeah.
That's why he's trying to just continue to tap
Challenge.
into that creative
Well,
flow.
Think of Brian Townsend with his airbrushing. He got tired of it because he perfected it, so he perfected it in another way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like, and so because of your skill or anybody's skill, like he said, you can adapt it and do so many different things with it.
Yeah.
Like you just said, Jesse James. Now he's doing guns. Now he's doing that. You know, like all that stuff. But he can walk away. That's the difference. Like he built up West Coast.
But he,
you know,
but he can't. That's the problem.
Well, no. What I mean is, like,
Financially, he can walk away.
No, not
mentally,
financially.
Yeah,
I meant
exactly.
even skill set rise. Like I know people that work for him, right? And so he can walk in. He built this thing, and he goes, "Hey, here's how we're gonna do it. I know you're capable. I know you're capable. Call me if you need me." And then he comes in, checks on it, cool. But he's venturing off into other avenues, and that's essentially what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is hey, you're good at this. You're good at that. I'm good at this. Walk away. See it. Do something else. Like
Yeah, I just don't have the. You're
Yeah.
good at this. You're good at this.
But I mean,
I'm the worst guy to work for. Straight up.
I'm pretty bad to work for, apparently too.
well, you've been saying it for like at least a year. Then at least that I've heard. Like you're like, hey, I'm not gonna be painting forever. Like you've kind of reached that point to where I think, from my perspective, I watch you and look at the things that you're doing. You just have such a creative mind. You're like, what other thing can I do to keep myself engaged, to keep interested, and keep going and pushing boundaries?
No, 100% is that. It's when I see a bike or I see someone building a bike, there's a part of me that's like, man, I really want to paint that for them. You know, whether it's something I did pro bono or, you know, got paid to do, that's always going to be there because I know that I'm proficient
when you're
at
feeling
it.
like that, let me
You know
know.
what I mean? But at the same time, you know, when it comes to time, like, you know, Matt can tell you, like, it's just very time consuming to paint bikes. It's very, being in here, thank you. I need some more juice. When you're, you know, I've been away from the shop so long, so I'm excited to be here this week. I got 2 helmets to paint for some people in Sturgis, and people listening are probably like, "Oh, they mine?" No, they're not yours. So I haven't taken any helmets in almost a year.
Wow.
And I'm still 11 behind right now. So I'm trying to leave it that way because I want to get these 11 done, and I should be done with all the stuff that I have on the books by November, October-ish maybe. And at that point, I'm at a point where I don't owe anybody anything paint-wise, and I can decide to shut this down or decide to do this or whatever. If I can get one more shop or 2 like Covington's where I can travel to it, provide artwork, get a decent amount of money, and then try to piggyback podcasting off of that. So, like,
Yeah, it's dope.
say if my buddy in NorCal would fucking get his shit together and take this paint shop and start doing bikes again, then I could just show up there, and all the people in NorCal want to get paint jobs done. They can go to him. They can do all the work. I'll show up for 2 or 3 weeks. I can do podcasts with people while I'm out there, knock out these paint jobs during the day, and then bam.
Yeah.
Like, fucking perfect world for me.
Yeah.
I'm providing the thing that I really love doing, which is podcasting. I can do photography out there, which I love more than anything right now, and I can still paint and do that. So it's like,
And that's that thing I was saying, like collaborating.
yeah.
You have to. Like,
Yeah.
If you can find people that can help your business and then you can accomplish different goals. It's like, for example, when you posted on your story that you were there, most people nowadays would have never done that because they don't want to give the glory away. They want to feel like they own everything and it's all on their back and look at me. I'm so,
Yeah. The other thing is like,
it's not cool.
this is some deep cuts. This is like 3 Coors banquets in.
It's okay.
At least
I've
it's
said
not,
some
at least
stuff
it's
I
not
probably
whiskey.
shouldn't have
At
said
least it's not
already,
whiskey.
so.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's more like beer, me drunk beer, happy guy. Whiskey. You know what I fucking can't. You know what I mean?
I've been there. I know.
I hate, like, I don't want people to think of me as like I don't want to be remembered as someone that had some followers online.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had somebody close to me
Yeah.
repost something, and it said, "Being famous on Instagram is like being rich in Monopoly."
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
And I was like, I knew this person. This person's like a really good friend of mine, and I knew exactly where that was pointed.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, you know me. Like, you know me more than I know me sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
so I had to have a conversation. And that's what makes this experience that I'm going through, this journey or whatever you want to call it, so weird, because when I was in my garage, nobody gave a shit, right? As far as like what I'm up to or feeling some type of way towards what I'm doing. Like, I've had shops reach out to me because I ran a sale. I'm like, dude, Target doesn't give a fuck about Walmart. I promise you they don't. Like,
Yeah.
Amazon's running Prime. Do you think Walmart's sitting in their room like, just do you and I'll do me and we can do
Yeah.
this and be cool? Like, we don't always have to compete, right? Like, to your point, without saying even more than that, like, it's just, it gets weird once you become what people think you are, when you know in your heart you've never changed.
Yeah, that's maybe on a different tangent of like the social media thing. But on that note,
Yeah.
I think that what happens with people is that they try to treat being in the custom motorcycle world the same way they treat being in the corporate world, where if I just do this, then I should get this.
Yeah.
And what they don't understand, and I'll tell this to anybody, and some of those people that I know don't like this are people that I consider close friends.
Right.
But the truth is if you don't adapt and overcome, then you fucking get left behind.
Right.
So I'm in a group chat on fucking my personal page, which I wish I wasn't in it.
So many group chats
Where
nowadays.
it's like all these brands that complain about what other people do. And I'm like, if someone else is doing it, it's because it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And you're mad because you thought that you only had to get a drag account and then that was it.
Right. My drag rep. So I was at a drag training where they had like Metzler come in. They had Legend there. They had all these brands. S&S was there. And like my drag rep was on stage, and all of the other dealers that are local to me were there too. All these other shops. And the drag rep was like, and I don't know why he did this, but I'm glad he kind of did. He was like, and I'm tired of everybody calling me. And this is when S&S was up there. He's like, I'm tired of everybody calling me, asking, what does drag feel about these giveaways with motors? Here's S&S, ask him. He goes, I was like, and then he pulled it away. He's like, before he could finish, he's like, we don't care. He's like, we want to move units. And I'm like, that's the goal. As a business, you have to like produce.
Yeah.
And how you get to that tally on the board, kind of doesn't really matter nowadays. Just be innovative, be creative.
Yeah.
What you're saying. It's not.
At the end of the day, like I have many, many different categories I complain about on this podcast, and we should be this or blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, like I'm just bitching.
Yeah.
It's not gonna change shit. Nobody at Harley's gonna listen to my podcast and go, you know what, this fucking dude's right.
Yeah.
You know, S&S go, this dude's right. It's never going to happen. This is the way the world goes.
Right.
Once things happen, that becomes the way things go.
And
right?
I am on the opposite end of that, where like when people are bitching, I'm like, this is the way it's gonna go. Like, I'm sorry, I found some way to do
the hardest
this,
part
and
about
that's it.
being in a business like you're
Yeah.
in is that, you know, when we first started this podcast, if you go back and listen to the first 20 episodes, when the emergence of the online store within the motorcycle community was very new.
Yeah.
It was around, but it was new, right? At the time, the main things were like Revzilla and JP Cycles, things like that. But then you get your John Jessups and your other guys that create these big, massive online stores, these Speed Kings.
Yeah.
Everybody's on it now.
Yeah.
Then we were talking about brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Go to brick and mortar. And I still think that you need to go to brick and mortar. But brick and mortar can't just sit here and say, well, I'm brick and mortar, you should come to me. No.
Because
I'm brick and mortar, and now you got to also wear this hat. It's innovation. It's competition. It's like,
and I figured out why.
you see Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being the Shell across the street going, what the fuck? How do we compete with that shit?
They don't. And that's
You
the thing.
can't.
You are your Shell.
I go to Shell because I don't want to wait in the line at Buc-ee's.
Exactly.
Right.
You have your own thing. Like, But the thing about it is, like, it used to be, like you're saying, like the Revzilla and the big boys, where all the small independent shops were like versus them, right? Like, don't shop on them, shop small. Now the shopping small is competing with each other, and they're like, I don't like that this person's doing this or whatever. You should not do that. It's like, how about we all just come together and say, like, if we go away, if us goes away, however we do that, it screws everybody.
Well, the online store like changed the entire game because now you don't have, like you're talking about the brick and mortar. You don't have that overhead. You don't have the employees.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you're supposed to have that. That's the thing that I won't agree to. That you need to, if you're going to be an online store, you need to be a brick and mortar.
Well, you have to.
You have to get a drag count. Now there are people that slip through the holes, but
well, sure.
But you know,
but you can have a warehouse and that be your brick and mortar. You know what I'm saying? You could like stock supplies, but yet you don't have as much
nowadays,
overhead.
You don't even need to do that.
Yeah,
like you could
not
carry a single thing.
I've said this so many times in the past, but if you build a presence, you know, online, your social media, whatever the fuck, all this jerk off motion, I get it, right? That's how we got on this. If you build that, people that like you will shop on your online store.
Right.
If they hear you on a podcast and you have an online store, they like your Instagram and you're like, hey, we sell this online. Look at what like Thrashin's doing and what Justin and them are doing. Like they're creating content to help sell their products.
Right. It's marketing.
Thrashin is making a YouTube. They can kind of probably at some point here pretty soon just live off YouTube. Yeah. But they have YouTube to help sell the new brake arm.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Right? So what's happening in our industry is that like back in the day, you just thought you had to learn how to fucking adjust push rods. But now you have to also learn how to be a social media person and do this. And it's just harder.
Yeah.
It's going to get harder.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Because now we might be good at taking a cool picture of our bike, but now we got to be a fucking TikTok dancer to goddamn sell motorcycle parts.
Right. But that was
that's true.
That's what got me hired on at the old shop was that I knew nothing about motorcycles and I knew absolutely everything about social media marketing because I was an account executive.
I had a talk with Brad, Booster Brad. We were at Texas Hills.
Yeah.
And I told him, and I'll give everybody my advice right here. I think the most important person you can hire for your shop today is a media guy.
Absolutely. And that's my background. So like don't be upset. Because I wasn't upset that I didn't know mechanical skills. I just knew I needed to get better.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I went out and I learned. And I fucked a lot of stuff up. And I got a lot of stuff wrong. I got a lot of stuff right. But I was okay with it. So it's like, if you're not willing to learn something, you will die.
Yeah. Great.
Period.
Yeah.
And you can't be upset with the other people that are trying to push and move and figure it out and bend the norm, right? Like you said back in the day, it was like, oh, do you know how to adjust push rods? Well, then you're not a whatever. Well, you don't have to be that anymore. Mm-hmm. You can learn how to do that later, but I can still sell you push rods, right? I can still sell you as many push rods as I need, so that way I can make my business grow. Or you can sit there and worry about adjusting everybody's push rods. What do you want to do? I don't want to sit behind a lift my entire life. I already knew that. That's why I had my business set up the way it was.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different goal. My goal was different. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to go pee, and then we're going to start talking about camp out shit.
Perfect.
All right. Y'all can talk some more stuff.
All right, guys. So,
Anybody got any questions?
questions. I have a question for Matt. How you doing today, bro?
Pretty good.
Good?
Pretty good.
Hanging in there?
Yeah.
Beard's looking good?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna go eat with my girlfriend and some of her friends afterwards, so I got to look good for that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it just sucked. Did some running around this morning, and then, like I said, I had that flat tire on the way here.
Right.
Fix that.
Man, I almost thought I wasn't going to make it, too, because last night he wanted to go hang out. I'm like, we're not doing this, James. He's like, if you don't hang out with me tonight, we're not going tomorrow. I was like, I'm still not hanging out with you tonight.
This was complaining about going out and having a few beers last night, knowing he didn't have to drive. He didn't have to drive. He could 2 hours. He could just sleep.
Who does a few beers? Let's just be real.
It doesn't matter. You weren't driving. All you had to do was wake up.
No, sorry. I'm an old ass man. I like my sleep. then we had to wake up at, well, I woke up at 7. And he's like, he gets in the, or I get in the truck. I'm like, you're all right? He's like, a little tired. I was like, did you go out last night? He's like, nope. I was like, ha ha. Like, you didn't even go. And you were upset with me for not going.
I haven't even really been getting out. Like, even like bike nights, I haven't been doing that. Like, this summer's been killing me. I don't have AC in my shop. And
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm doing a lot of powder coating, so
Nice.
I got that.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
oven.
tight.
So
Bacon.
yeah, 120 degrees where I'm doing that work, plus the oven going.
Yeah, it's rare for
400
me.
degrees.
It's rare for me nowadays to go out and hang out like I used to. Like,
It's also
just
just
can't
too,
do it.
too damn hot.
that's what I was telling you. I was like, oh, or I told Alex last night. I was like, we're gonna go downtown Round Rock. We're gonna sit at the tavern, which is outside on a patio. It's 98 degrees. I'm out.
It is hot.
I'm
It's-
out.
No matter what you do, it's hot.
Yeah, I'm like, no, not doing
Well, it sucks, but that's part of community building.
True.
And so I have some background issues that prevent me from doing a lot of different things nowadays, to say the least. But we're working through it, and probably in about 14 months from today, we'll be back on. And so now that he's in Austin, now that Tommy's back,
Yeah.
and
Now James is a chauffeur, basically.
yeah, hey man, I like to get around, but I'm like
Full-time Uber driver.
Yeah.
Yep, and I don't tip him. And there's no 5 stars, sorry, buddy. But so we are going to be working on like a Austin bike night deal.
Yeah. Please talk to me.
I remember.
Yes, hey, look.
So
I'm-
I've listened. I've sit here and not here. I've at home.
he's bothered
virtually.
me so much about it.
Yeah. So I've listened to y'all talk about Austin does not have a scene. Austin does not have a scene. So that's what we're working on.
Let me give you my.
Start bitching. Start
No,
bitching,
it's not.
Jay. Start bitching.
It's not bitching.
No, I'm
It's
just kidding.
Austin has a lot of bikers, but they have a lot of club bikers, and every time, like, and I keep.
You were there. At
Yeah,
the bike, yeah.
It's just like it's club. Everything's segregated.
And they find out, and then they're like,
If you find it, like, do a bike night, just make it small. Make it the intention of being small, and find a good spot. Try to make it to where when those clubs pull up, they feel like this is a waste of our time. And then you grow with like actual people that want to come ride and hang out and be a part of something, because the club stuff, when they start crowding bars and parking lots, and it just becomes, it takes away it's not inviting, right? And I'm not talking shit about clubs. I'm just saying in general, it just doesn't.
I don't even work on
Yeah.
club
I
bikes
mean,
at the
yeah.
shop.
You pull up and you see a bunch of patches. You're like, yeah. I think I'll go somewhere else.
And
I
that's
mean, it
not-
just it is what it
no
is.
offense, but yeah.
And Austin is like so Dallas Fort Worth, we have a lot of independent riders, and that's why we have like the Fort Worth bike night, the Dallas bike night. There's lots of people involved, so we have a good scene outside of the club world. Austin seems to be like the path of progression is like I rode a bike for about a year and then I joined the club. Right, and everywhere you go, there seems to be like nothing but club presence. Everywhere you go on motorcycles,
There's not. That's probably because of where you've been. But like your normal everyday dude, like, and I see it because
but they don't have anywhere to go. That's not.
That's
club.
exactly right. Right. The organized events are organized because it's an organization who's doing it. If that makes sense. There is not a single person who's willing to like step out and put their neck on the line and be like, meet me here at this time and bring your bike. That doesn't happen. There are bike nights at like different bars. Like there's one in downtown Austin that I've been to, and then 3 hours in, who rolls in? Because the bartender or because the doorman, right? It's hard also to find a spot in Austin that is quote unquote like safe.
I know that, but it's centrally
because-
located.
right.
Just to give you an example, I live less than 12 miles away from him.
But it takes me.
It takes me
like,
almost 30, 35 minutes to get to his
Yeah.
house. Everything in Austin, as far as the highways, run north and south. There's hardly anything that runs east to west. So it's everything is basically.
Yeah, but I would never do a bike night up by us. In,
Well, I know,
in that county.
but to his point though, it's we've got to do something that's like small, right, and just let it fester and grow on its own. Let it do its
Yeah.
own thing, but we've got to do something that's consistent.
Yeah.
Even if it's every Thursday night or every,
I would
whatever
do
the
it
case
like
may be.
once a month. I think.
Once a month, you got to put more work into that.
Yeah,
Think so?
I
Yeah,
feel like-
because it becomes a spectacle.
yeah.
Meaning that, like, okay, well, we're gonna do this bike night, and it's gonna be 2 weeks from now. They're like, well, what's? It's the ride. It's like the group chat. We're all going on this ride in 2 weeks, and then
Yeah.
as you get to it, it's like people weigh the options. Like, I don't really feel like it right now, right? Sometimes when you have once a month, you'll get a big crowd because they don't know. But then the next month rolls around. They didn't have fun last month. They're not coming this month.
Right.
That's true.
But if you do it every week, then yeah, it does. It's a lot of work. I mean, you got to be the guy that goes every week.
I was going to say, I'm only saying once a month because that's probably how many times I'll probably show up.
Yeah,
right
and
with my time, you know.
Yeah, and so that's to his point. I think that's what we basically need to do is we got to do something that's weekly, and we got to keep it consistent. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly.
But you also got to when you get it going. If you find people that can help carry the torch, you have to be willing to relinquish the torch. Because what happens
Great
is like
segue for the camp out.
because what happened here was we kind of were the guys behind the bike nights, and then the people that had the page didn't want to share. You know what I mean? And so it was just like one of those situations. So it's like when you find somebody who can match your energy, empower them, put them in. Hey, look, man, I love what you're doing to help out. Hey, here's a fucking login to the Instagram page. Help us run this shit.
Right.
Give them ownership, and then people will. If people feel like they own something, they fucking make it their own. The same way we did with our camp out. Hey, this is your camp out. How you go about this is your event, right? We're just gonna throw a couple things on a table for you to do. The rest of it is up to you.
Right.
And then it becomes their own thing to make what they want. They're not relying on me to be their entertainment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. So when you have so many things on your plate, it's very easy to let one thing like spoil because you're so much focused on eating the steak that the mashed potatoes go cold. And that's the same concept of like why this partnership that we have kind of going on. We're friends. You know, I say partnership, but whatever, right? With the camp out is year one, he was like super stoked about what we experienced at your camp out. And so when we came back, we were like, man, that was really cool. Like, but what sucks is like, we want to do something in Texas, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And he's like, but I also wanted to do like something like, with some water because, whatever.
Well, so
it gets,
So I obviously, we came back. When I first met you guys in 2021 when we went to Sturgis together, right? So I met you guys in Dallas, and I had no clue about the podcast or anything. Like, and I even told you when we were in Terra Lingua together, like I didn't really
he was like,
know.
Chase. I was like,
yeah, I didn't really know. And then you and I got to spend some time together just chit chatting and shooting the shit and drinking. And I was like, man,
I got a great picture of you from Terra.
dude, oh man.
He was like, James was fucked up.
Yeah.
But it was
James
like,
likes to go hard sometimes.
but it's when we came back from Sturgis that year, he was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a camp out. And he had found that spot in Apache Pass. I was like, all right.
I have to give credit.
Yeah.
I didn't find the spot.
Well, I mean, you heard about it.
Wayne
Either way.
told me the spot, yeah.
So, we did it. We talked about it. We collaborated on it. I threw together a couple of T-shirts real quick, just like some introductory T-shirts for the first year. And we went out there that year, and we made it what it was. We didn't know how many people were going to show up.
Yeah.
We didn't know what kind of buzz it was going to generate. At the time, they had a restaurant and a bar on facility, right? And it was like, man, we kind of found like a little gym here. There was, as far as water, I mean, we were basically sitting in a creek, and people were complaining about the algae and there's snakes in there and everything else. But it was hot, and it was a way to cool down. And so, I think like Kyle came on your podcast and kind of talked about, hey, the first year, how it went. He said he had fun and everything. And so we were looking forward to year two. So year two rolls around. Last year you had Rennie come on, talk about it and everything. And you came down there. And then what happens is the restaurant's closed, the bar's closed, and the guy that was running everything, he was just basically making everything difficult for us. I asked him 5 times to make sure he turned on the hot water for the showers. And none of that point in time did he say anything about the bar and the restaurant being closed down. We had no clue. And all you guys show up, and then all of a sudden we're like, we can't feed you guys. Yeah, and we're running out of beer. Now, the first night we were out there, everybody had a blast. It was a rager. Everybody was having fun. But, all the free beer that we had, which was sponsored by Lone Star, Candy brought in some vodka from Tito's. We had Tito's as a sponsor. And so all of that stuff, and Waterloo, we had Waterloo as a sponsor. So we were making do with what we had. We were running out of alcohol. Next thing you know, we got people pouring out half of the Waterloo, mixing it with vodka, right, just to make some type of drink.
At a time.
Yeah,
And then we showed up, and there was like these like things that had like caps on them, and they were growing in the ground, and people would eat them and got all tripped out. It was weird. They just showed up.
But I mean, the first night everybody had fun, and you could see the next day everybody was just wasted. We all sat in that lake or whatever it was the next day. Everybody was just.
Fuck, yeah, it was. So I think the first night, me, Eric, and Chooch, we said it's like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, and then people woke up and they went home. They're like, I am done. This is too much. Like.
But prior to last year's camp out, I was talking with Adam Hughes, FXRs of Houston. I was like, man, I really want to put something together to go to the Guadalupe, some way, shape, or form. Because I was like, I remember, just doing a run by myself with my dad or whatever. We were going through, New Braunfels, and I remember going down River Road, and I remember seeing these campouts. It's campgrounds, and I was like, this would be a cool idea. Because in my mind, I was thinking, well, a multitude of different things could happen. You could either go float the river or you can go ride the hill country, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
There's bars and restaurants all up and down the road. It would be a fantastic spot to have just some kind of weekend camp out or some kind of event. I didn't know anything until I started talking to you about how the Giddy Up Chopper Show, the vintage chopper show used to be down there.
Yeah, and I was done with the camp out.
Yeah.
Like after last year?
After last year, he was like, I'm done with it.
Yeah,
And I was
I
like,
had
and
a
I
lot
had
of
this,
issues with the guy.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. It was just like, what are we going to do? Go to
Yeah.
the same, like, I was like, we're not, like, no. Like, and James like, no. I was like, dude, if you can find a spot that we can still go to, that's new, that is welcoming, we can still have a multitude of fun, that brings so many different, like, aspects of fun, I was like, then you own it. And, we can collaborate.
Yeah,
and make
so
it
he's
happen.
kind of passing the torch. I mean, we're gonna see how this year goes, being in a new location, right? But
I think that it's still going to be a difficult one this year because of
Yeah.
the time after Sturgis.
Yes.
But if you fit into the schedule what I recommended for next year, I think that you might not have the water aspect, but the area
We
is
talked
the
about
most
that.
amazing
It is.
place to be. I camp there every year at that time for a reason because there's flowers blooming, and I know that sounds gay as a biker, but it's fucking beautiful.
It is
well, it's part
when you're
spring.
riding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think for us, it was after being in Terralingo that weekend, talking with you and told you all the problems that we had with the place in Apache Pass. I was like, he had talked about it before. We were like, maybe we move it around instead of doing the same
Yeah, I remember
place.
you talked about
Yes,
that.
and that was even a conversation on the way up here. I was like, he's like, man, depending on this year, like maybe we go back. I was like, how about we turn this into like somewhat of a tour of Texas where we're like adventuring out. We're minus the stuff that happened to me now. Like I can't adventure out as much. But that was the original plan was like me and James, we're going to go ride around Texas. We're going to find these like little honey holes that we had a good time at, and then we'll invite you guys to come back with us, was the original concept of like my camp out. And then he's like, well, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, I know.
Well, it's not so much you can't do that. I think I think this year it was like, I remember I texted you and I was like, hey, have you ever, because the guy reached out to us or reached out to Rennie and was like, hey, we want y'all to come back this year, but y'all got to have a event insurance. And I texted you and it's like, have you ever heard of this? And you're like,
He wanted a almost $2 million insurance policy for 3 days.
yeah, and I was, that's ridiculous.
I was
So
like, what?
and you were like, well, Huaco Springs. You're like, what about moving it out there? And I was like, that's a good idea. So while I'm texting you, like figuring this stuff out, I tell him and he calls him and the lady was like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. When you want to do it.
She was
See,
so
that's the thing.
excited.
Is like I knew that they've been wanting something to come back there because, like I said, we camp there every year,
Yeah.
and we end up, we're just here to. It's the RIP Giddy Up Campout. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of the Houston guys would still come out too, but the problem is like the reason why we never stepped into like trying to create an event in that space is because it was close to our camp out. And our camp out pulls people from all over the country, so moving it that deep into Texas was kind of like it was a multi-state suicide, in my opinion.
And it's going to be tough this year, I'm not going to lie. Like, obviously, I sell T-shirts, pre-order. And
See, Craig fucked that up for all of us. If Craig would have
yes, he
never
did.
made T-shirts,
Yeah.
none of us would have to make T-shirts. We can just do an event, and we can go hang out, and there's
didn't
no
want to.
financial investment into
no,
it.
I never want, look,
I didn't want to make T-shirts either.
ask him. I never wanted to do anything other than say, hey, guys, this weekend, this location, we will be there. Come if you want to.
Yeah.
Don't care if you do. Don't care if you don't. He's like, he gets really excited seeing all these people because, like, he's kind of new to the scene. So he's like, hey, who's that? I'm like, oh, man, I I don't know. But at the same time, he's like, we can't let this die. Like, people,
I know it went up.
he's like, we can't let this die because people are demanding it. Like, I had so many people when I came on the podcast last time and I said, hey, we're not doing this again, where they're like, are you fucking serious? I'm like, do you want it? Here you go, dude. Like,
Yeah.
not that it's so much work, but that it's unpredictable, right?
Well, that's the problem is like like, first off, I love Craig, but the reason why, before the T-shirts and all this shit was in, it was just, there was no financial barrier that you had to make, right? But when I have to go spend $5,000 to get T-shirts to maybe sell them,
Right.
it becomes a financial fucking burden to where I'm like, okay, I need to sell these T-shirts. This is a business now.
Yeah.
Right. I never really wanted it to be that.
Yeah.
I wanted people to just show up and, everybody's like, oh, well, I want a T-shirt for the event. But it's like that in itself turns this into a business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we just want to have fun.
Yeah, you're right. It does turn into a business, but at the same time, it kind of gives you the ability to kind of look back. You have pictures.
you
Yeah,
offer
picture,
something.
but like,
but you offer something.
Yeah, but
the amount of work it takes to create an event and then the work that now you have to sell something there too.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot more work than it's necessary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's what he was complaining is like, we haven't really done as well as far as like pre-sales for the T-shirts. And I'm like, well, it's probably because last
I
year.
don't pre-sell shit.
Well,
I'm not good with that.
but last year it was like we're pre-selling the camping, all the beer you can drink plus a T-shirt, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's what got everybody jumped on it last year. This year it's just like we're just pre-selling T-shirts.
I
So
honestly think people are just afraid because they're like, it's going to be hot and there's water. I don't want to show my beer belly. And I'm like,
so-
just show up and have fucking fun.
So
dude.
that kind of segues into a
Yeah.
couple of things that we're talking about. So you were talking about next year maybe moving it up a little bit, right? And so this year we're kind of really leaning in on the river, right? The Guadalupe. If you want to go ride, fantastic. It's gonna be hot as hell, right? But we're really leaning in on the rafting or floating the river. As a matter of fact, we worked out a deal with Rock and R River Rides.
Nice.
So they're actually going to give us a group discount. So we're going to do two scheduled event floats, which are basically going to be Friday and
That's
Saturday.
not a bad idea, dude.
So we're going to do it from 12 to 5, basically.
That's not a bad idea.
And so so we got a discount code. We'll post it on Rennie's Instagram page and mine, so that everybody can just click on the link and it'll take you straight to it. I suggest for everybody that's listening right now, as soon as you see the link, to go ahead and click on it, save it prior to coming to the event, because cell phone reception down there
Yeah, you have
is
to like stand
spotty as best.
Yeah.
And so I really recommend saving that. But so we're going to do that. And maybe next year, when we're talking about this, moving it up earlier, maybe next year we'll lean more into like maybe the riding aspect of it, because it'd be too cold for the water maybe.
Yeah.
That's not saying you can't do it, but
Yeah,
this
but that
year
venue-
The reason why, the river thing would be that's the selling point. And I'm not. I mean, honestly, if it's an amazing success, maybe not take my advice and just kind of keep it around the times. But you just gotta understand that like anything like it's 200 miles from Dallas to there, 220 or something like that. That's a lot. It's a lot of ask, right? And then it's even worse for people in Houston coming up because it's even hotter down there and shit, right? But the thing is, after Daytona, like in Texas, Giddy Up, and as somebody that was here for Giddy Up, it was the first riding event you went to. The first time you hopped.
a bike show element to that.
There was.
And the camping was like the bonus popcorn to the movie.
It was.
You were there
And
for the movie, but you enjoyed the popcorn.
Exactly.
Right?
You could have that though. I mean, like that's the thing about all this stuff is you can have I think that what people really want to do, but they're too homophobic to say this, is they just want to hang out with each other.
right.
And that's all this is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
So last year we introduced a bike show element to the camp out. And it was cool. Like the dudes who won, they were fucking stoked. There was people like one dude went out and bought a brand new bike and then built it and brought it to the camp out, and I was like,
We had
cool.
Chooch paint some skateboards.
Yeah, I was like,
trophies.
okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
fine, dude, great, right? But like, essentially, what this is all about is, hey, we will be here at this weekend having this type of fun. If you want to join us, join us. Like, very grassroots, very organic, very just, hey, ride your motorcycle, come camp, come have fun. Period.
Yeah. I've learned a lot just knowing people like Corey and them. They've talked about this event called the Poncho Run. You ever heard about that?
That was way back. That's old school shit.
12 years ago, 15 years
well,
ago.
I mean, I'm 33. You're talking when I was like 16. That's old school, dude.
Okay, I guess whatever.
Yeah, the Poncho Run, dude. That's old school.
Well,
shit.
you just turned 40 this year?
Yeah, I've turned 41 in September.
Oh, yeah.
So you're Poncho running when you were
No, I never did. I just heard about it
Yeah.
because like when all those things took place, I was in a different part of motorcycling. But those concepts, I think the Poncho Run kind of leans into the idea that you had originally, and I think that's what needs to happen. Is that, no offense from what I'm about to say, but people do come to the camp out and they go home and they just want to recreate that experience in their neck of the woods. But even me, like, of course I don't have the ultimate authority to say this, but I kind of want to end the camp out at 10 and maybe do every 5 years a reunion.
That's
No
not a bad
offense to
idea.
what I'm about to say, since we're not offending each other, right?
No offense taken.
Yeah, I mean, so once something becomes so big, it's like a balloon. It has to
Yeah.
pop. And the camp out this year was fucking epic. I'm not going to lie. But it turns into like, hey, man, let's get an RV.
Yeah.
Hey, man, the cabins are sold out. I'm not going to go. Hey, man, like, I'm worried about winning something.
Yeah, that part.
Versus, hey, bro, I'm going to meet you at this place at this time, and we're going to ride this route, and, hey, so-and-so is going to jump in with us. Hey, man, how'd you pack out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, we get there. Oh, bro, it's
That's
fucking
what-
hot. Here's a beer. Hey, do you need help with your tent? You know?
Well, the thing that pissed me off was when we finished the bike show, the amount of people that just turned their bikes on
And left.
And that's why I never wanted to do a fucking bike show in the first place, but
It's okay for Sturgis, for Daytona, Laconia,
Yeah.
all that stuff. The minute you lose sight of why you started something in that element, then all of a sudden these other different influences start coming in, and then they suck what the soul began at.
yeah.
And that's what I don't want to happen. And that's why I was afraid with him
Yeah, well, so
for the
I
sponsorship.
well, not only that,
right?
but I caught a little flack and some of the stuff that, a little shrapnel from some of the stuff I said on that little introductory video, which was like, hey, we're just down here to have a good time. We're not having a bike show. Texas Hills was just a few weeks ago. We're here just basically to have fun. If you want to ride your bike in, fantastic.
That got weird.
You want to run through the Texas Hill Country, come on. If you want to float the Guadalupe, it's right here behind us. And it wasn't necessarily intended to poke fun or alienate anybody. It was just more like, hey, Sturgis is here. Some people are coming in after that. I know people got a lot of bike builds going on. We just had Texas Hills. Don't worry about any of that extra pressure, added pressure. Like I have to have a bike ready to go to an event because there's going to be a bike show and I want to show it off. It was more or less just basically say, hey, don't worry about any of that crap.
Yeah.
Just come down here and just have fun. That's
Yeah.
all we were wanting to do.
Yeah, and that venue, as you know, or that campground is, my gosh, it's such an untapped. I feel like I called it a honey hole.
Yeah.
There's 2 convenience stores fully stocked with anything from scuba gear to beer to cigarettes to snacks. There's 2 different float companies. There's so many different restaurants and bars every single night playing live music with great
It's
food.
It's the first bridge that you cross when you go down
wild.
River Road.
Yeah, it's wild.
Second bridge.
Is it?
It's the second bridge.
Is it
the
second bridge?
The first one is right after that ice house.
The first bridge is when you come down the hill and you
Yeah.
turn to go along the
river.
property of
Waco
Springs. But yeah, that's kind of like the natural progression we talked about earlier. Like, how do I make this better?
Yeah.
Right. And so we thought about like the year before. Don't get me wrong, what Big Trouble and Mel did for this camp out this year, invaluable.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely.
Invaluable. They brought so much to the table, but I think in doing so, it brought a lot of people that expected to win bikes based on the fact that they had money in their bike and they didn't really understand the concept of why.
That's why the person I picked for my trophy was who
Yeah.
I picked.
Yeah, it's like the whole concept of the bike show was to, and this is not on them. Like they helped facilitate a great time.
absolutely. Yeah.
The people just didn't
Love
they
marketing.
didn't read the fucking fine print.
Yeah.
They didn't read the fact that like, look, we're picking people that are here leaning into this, creating a good time. Like not the people that are sitting here around their bike shining it up the whole fucking time because they expect to win a trophy.
Right. The dude I picked was leaking oil all over it. You know, it was,
Who'd you pick?
Brooks Blanton
Oh, there you go.
on that FXR T. It was a frame
That's
up.
where I bought my frame from.
Yeah. I saw that. I should have jumped on that. But no, he bought a FXR T in complete pieces, rebuilt it from the ground up or frame up.
Yeah.
Didn't powder coat, didn't paint, didn't do nothing. All the original stuff. It's a frame up, but it was so just. Oh, I wanted to buy it. Like originally, like I was like, hey man, he's like,
Want to raffle this?
No, I wanted to buy it because I'm like, dude, this thing fucks so hard. Like it's so trashy. I love it. Like, but yeah, back to the camp out deal. Like,
Spilling beer all over my damn
Did
self.
you get that?
Make sure everybody saw it.
but back to the camp out. It's like I'm going with the most that I can try to stop this from blowing, right? And that's what that venue brings because it's limited. There's not a lot of space. So there's chances are, like, if you took last year's attendance, like we talked about, and we moved it to this venue, we're already over capacity.
Yeah.
So when I say, like, call and try to get your spot, I really mean that. Hopefully.
I mean, I'm going
Yeah.
to get a spot regardless.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying,
can.
I
No,
know.
you can.
Yeah, I'm going to get a spot.
We got you.
No, I got.
So are you coming?
I know them.
Coming?
I'm going to Sturgis. My intention is to come. I don't know. It might be one of those weekends that I got to drive down with my son. I'm not sure.
That's cool.
but
It's fine because
my son's like fucking 13 now. Like I got to spend time with, and I've been gone.
it's
all
cool
summer.
because my
Yeah.
son's gonna be there.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
son's
all
definitely
three
not
of my
gonna play with
kids
your
camped
kids.
out with us last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did.
Yeah, and they were like, in
And the
awe.
year-
They were
and-
like,
and the year before.
and the year before that,
Yeah.
the year before that, they were at the bar eating chicken wings and chicken fingers.
I mean,
That's the
I don't
whole point
recommend
of
it for kids, but
No, it's not for kids.
Yeah,
but like,
you just see a bunch of dudes naked.
yeah.
not like. It really, honestly, what it comes down to is like, it's a bunch of dudes who just want to go relax, have something to do, and hang out with each other.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, there's no like asterisk assigned to this thing. It's just like organically what you used to say, like, just show up, have fun.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, unlike last year, there's places to eat, right? So there's going to be entertainment around us.
Yeah.
So right up the road, which is about, I don't know, maybe 2 miles, they have the Lone Star Float and Grill.
Yeah. Lone Star Float House.
Lone Star Float House. They, man, I
World
tell you what,
famous hamburgers.
their food was off the chart. Like,
Yeah.
I ate a steak sandwich, and it was, like, just phenomenal. They obviously serve Lone Star beer. Not that Lone Star is officially sponsoring this year, but they serve.
And that's the thing. Let's talk about the sponsorship because I had a couple people reach out, right?
Yeah.
So with the sponsorship, the only reason why we included brands is to give something to people for showing up with no financial gain from us.
This is more like a thank you. Kind of like the same thing you're doing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that you guys did. We're gonna do some giveaways. Simpson jumped on.
Yeah,
They're willing to help us. I know
got
you're,
Waterloo.
Yeah, you're with us, Waterloo. We've got so many people that have been gracious this year. Tommy, Cowboy Harley, they're
Putting on the bike
sponsoring.
night.
Yeah, they're sponsoring the pre-party bike night for us on Thursday, August 10th. That's going to be, I can't wait for that. It's going to be from 4 to 7 p.m. They're doing a bikini bike wash, as well as Eric's going to be out there with his
Are they
food
going to
truck.
be good bike washes?
I don't know.
That's one of those weird things. I always look when I go places now. I look for bike washes because I don't want to wash my bike.
Right.
Last thing
But
I'm
I
going to
could
do.
care if they are fucking in a bikini and I'm like, hey, you missed a spot.
Right. It's more about the quality of the wash.
Yeah.
I don't
versus what
put
you're
water
wearing.
on my bike unless it's raining, so I'm kind of like, don't ask me about the bikini bike wash. It's cool.
Not to mention, with your paint jobs, you don't want them scratching it either.
Yeah.
No, I don't give a shit about that. I just
They
don't
don't
want to
either.
wash
That's
it.
the great part about it. If you don't care, they don't
My
care.
paint jobs are fucked because like bug guts have already the acid in the bug has already fucking made a spot in the paint job. So.
Yeah.
But no,
And there's free beer.
Yeah.
forget that.
So Eric will be there with his food truck. So
Wagyu on
the
Wheels.
Wagyu on Wheels. So they're gonna have some food out there. They're gonna have
I'm gonna
free
need him to
beer out
step
there.
his chicken strip game up.
You go to a
Eric.
burger stand
No.
to eat chicken strips.
I'm gonna eat his burger too.
Oh, you
But
bet.
at-
Have you had the burger?
Yeah, I had it at Texas Hills. It's good. But
It's not
bro,
good, it's great.
if you're gonna do anything, do it the best.
I've never had chicken strips from him, so I can't.
Have you been to Chili's?
Yeah, we
Have you? I'm just saying.
Low key, I need to check your account because you obviously have stock.
I
in
don't
this
go to
fucking
Chili's a
place.
lot, but when I'm
But you
not
talk
at
about it a
home,
lot.
here's the deal. When you're gone, I don't give a fuck where you're at. You know, the honey chipotle chicken strips at Chili's goes hard. You know that.
Can't tell you last time I ate at Chili's. I don't know because I don't eat at Chili's.
Well, it's not the point. It's what he's saying is like when you have
No, I
a
get it.
brand,
Yeah, I
you
get
have
it.
something that like everybody remembers, whether it's the burgers,
burger.
whether it's the chicken.
burger.
As somebody
Whatever.
that eats,
Wagyu on wheels.
I travel a lot and I eat out a lot, so
Yeah.
I know 100% when someone brings me a chicken. Like when you're going somewhere to eat, you're like, I don't know if I really want a full burger. I want something a little bit lighter, which
Yeah.
fried chicken strips is not really lighter, but in my head,
Who is this guy?
it makes me feel like that. So when they show up and you're like, oh yeah,
You want a
they
Cobb salad?
they bought
bro?
these,
You want a Cobb salad?
dude. I'll tell you another story. When you get a fucking like a basket of chicken strips, you know right off the top if they made that chicken strips or if they got the fucking fried one.
Well, it's a food truck. They're not in there.
Did they do that with their burgers?
No, but they're known for the burger.
Then don't sell chicken strips.
Yeah, but then don't get the chicken strips.
Don't sell it.
Don't go to a barbecue place and order a fucking salad. Like, get the barbecue, bro. Like, they're famous for their Wagyu burger.
All right.
And I've never had their chicken strip. My kids have. And
They should take their Wagyu burger and chicken fried steak dip them things and sell them with fucking.
that, Eric?
You heard Eric?
Ooh, I like
sell them with
that.
some
I
fucking
like
gravy
that.
and sell
No,
me
I
some
like
goddamn
that.
chicken fingers
I
or
like
steak
that.
fingers.
DQ out of
Hey, guess
business.
what? We're gonna have a special menu.
You were making a special.
I'll put Eric in a headlock.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
luck with that.
Hey, no, we'll get to that later.
That
one night, me and him wrapped up, and it was not pretty.
Eric's in the thick neck click.
Yeah.
brother.
Oh, I get that, but one
get-
day we wrapped up in his garage, and it was wild.
We'll get Chooch to put him in a headlock.
From last year's camp. So, Chooch, if you're listening, I don't know if you are, I'll fly you out for the rematch.
I really did like when y'all came into the podcast this year. I followed him.
Yeah.
and had no idea it was him, but his demeanor
Yeah.
was off-putting to the point where I was like, I just thought he was one of your cronies.
I don't have cronies. He was. I don't have cronies. And if you consider yourself to be one of mine, then just jump off ship. No. So on that, to kind of circle back to what I said at the beginning, I've tried to push people.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was pushed, and he's an individual that he's now moved to Phoenix. He's now in a full-blown shop, and he's putting out some really good work.
Killer, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a young dude. He's excited and all that other stuff.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And he's painting my FXR tour bike. And I'm like, right on, dude. Just
Yeah,
don't
that's
fuck
expected.
it up.
Yeah. No,
Because-
he'll be fine.
Well, no, he's never painted a frame, you know. And
Oh, yeah, he'll be
You know,
fine
we
with
have
that.
like a lot of conversations.
The good thing
over
about
FaceTime.
frames is you can hide a lot of shit.
Yeah, but when your frame is like the
Centerpiece.
centerpiece, you can't hide anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, so I'm trying to push people, and that's why like Eric Wagyu on Wheels, he's a part of the camp out. Like I'm like, hey, dude, bring your food truck to the actual venue.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm
Dude,
like, I don't know.
him, his wife, their whole crew at Texas Hills
Yep, solid.
was the experience. You guys didn't come to the house afterwards, did y'all? With all the homies, like Big Will Cody and them? Mm-hmm. Y'all did? Mm-hmm. You were there?
I didn't. I was passed.
You got to
out.
be more memorable.
No, you
Yeah,
No, not that. So that day they came to our house, but the next day we went to their house,
Okay.
and yeah,
So I was trying to remember all the sponsors. All right, so the sponsors we have for just for the bike night, we have the Fast Life Garage with Jace here. We also have Waterloo. We have Liquid Metal Performance, TTI.
Who's Liquid Metal?
Kirby,
Alex Kirby.
I know Alex Kirby.
another individual that I'm trying to push because he builds bikes for himself,
Right.
and he's finally like taken on 2 customers to build bikes for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, even though if you don't want to do this full time, I understand. It's scary. But don't lose sight of like your creativeness. If somebody wants to own that, do that. And that's okay. Like I'll promote you, I'll help you, like I'll push you, I'll sell you parts, whatever. But I believe in people the same way they believed in me.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though like I'm still this big, we can all still just be this big. And
I mean, you saw the bike that he won at
just
Texas
won at
Hills
Texas,
with.
yeah.
I mean, the dude knows he's
Yeah.
he's a solid guy. I
Very.
not to
Good friend.
not to mention he's just an excellent friend. But I mean, the stuff that he puts out is phenomenal. I really like it.
to be in his garage too. That's
Yeah. Well, we also have TTI, which is another
Yeah.
Texas company,
Those are killing it.
as well as Simpson, and then Lindahl. Lindahl has jumped on board too. So, I mean, it's
Lindahl's daddy.
we I can't thank enough everybody, all the sponsors. I can't thank them enough for jumping on board this year. This is really going to be It's kind of like, dipping your toe into another testing phase because we're moving places, right? So I don't know. Last year, the number of people that showed up more than doubled, which
It was
was
overwhelming. Dude.
yeah, which was fun. It was phenomenal. I was excited
I don't
for
know
it.
how you do it.
I don't expect necessarily that many people to come this year because we're moving facilities, but if we get close to that, then I will consider it a success. And then whatever builds on that it is what it is.
Always keep in mind that I think in all our opinions, like Craig is the same way. Craig's kind of times 10. Sometimes it's annoying, but realistically,
Craig has shitty tattoos too.
he does. Realistically, you're not supposed to do that on camera.
Sorry. Well, he's on you.
Okay.
Shout out to the camera guy.
I think that ultimately you have to, like at a camp out, you always have to be content with what you have.
Yes.
Because
That's all I want.
like I said, if there was no T-shirts involved, if I didn't have to sell 250 T-shirts, then I wouldn't give a fuck if 250 people showed up.
Right.
Wouldn't give a fuck.
Right.
And that's the point of this one is I'm not selling anything. I didn't even want to do the T-shirts. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to have fun with my friends, ride motorcycles, float the river, drink some root beer, hang out, have fun, eat a burger, talk some shit, stay up a little late. Cool. That's all this was originally. The first year, dude, how many people showed up? 20 to 40 at maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a fun time to me
Yeah.
that I'm okay if 20 to 40 people showed
Yeah,
up.
I mean, it was more about the people that were there
it's just-
and the time that we had. I mean, Larry showed up, Cody showed up.
Owned it. Larry owned it, dude.
No, but not only that, Cody got obviously plastered, ended up sleeping in a
Hammock.
In a hammock.
That was mine. I was like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah, and it was just it was
Find
just
your own room.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't bring a tent. I was like, cool. You're gonna sleep in this hammock, I guess.
Yeah, it was just and it's the same as with your camp out. Like everybody comes and does their own thing and it makes their own memories, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was alluding to about not having bike shows or anything like that this year. It's just more or less just everybody coming to let off some steam, have fun. It's going to be hot. We have a river there, right?
But
The
it's
one
not
thing I
really
can
that
tell you,
hot 'cause that
well,
wind
I know.
blows off that canyon. And
Yeah, so I can tell you,
you're
as
in
soon as you step off the bank into the water where the trees overgrow, that water temperature drops dramatically. I had to get out into the middle of the river before I started warming up. So it's going to be an excellent way to cool off. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And on top of that, every tent site down there, which I'm sure you already know,
Has
every
power.
tent site has power. So bring your fans, bring your
Dude,
portable
there was-
AC units, whatever you got to do.
There was a dude up there. When
Bring
we were up there
refrigerators, it doesn't
hanging out.
matter.
He had a window unit
Sitting on a picnic table.
And
Yeah.
he was sitting in front of me like,
And do what you have to do to make yourself comfortable. That's what it's
Yeah.
about.
yeah, just have fun.
Yeah, and then of course the River Road Ice House, which is like right there. They're gonna have live music both on Friday and Saturday night, so we can run down there if we want to. I think what I did this year is I got myself a hold of a PA system. So we're gonna have a PA system out there. So while we're floating on the river, we're just gonna blast some music right there. It's gonna be facing the river. We're just gonna have fun. So we'll use that. It's obviously has a microphone, so we'll use that whenever we get ready to do any type of the giveaways or stuff like that we're gonna have going on. But at the end of the day, it's just really about having fun in the middle of August and
it's hot and it's
creating
okay.
some memories.
Yeah, it's
And,
hot. It's
yeah.
okay. Like you said, be a man.
Yeah.
We have a bridge right there. I have no doubt that there's going to be some stunt riding right there on the bridge,
Texas
right in front of
Symphony's gonna
everybody.
show up. We've already kind of like reserved to close that river road. Believe
Did you
it or
ever
not.
find out what happened to the dude that ran from the guy in Texas Hills? That ran from the cop? Remember?
Yeah.
Allegedly,
I got it on video.
yeah. Allegedly, he did some stunts, and then there was like the law, right?
Yeah.
But nobody got in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to say that.
That was wild.
It was one of those like left, right, left, and then you're out of there type deals. And he came right back to the Texas. He's like, "What's up?" I was like, "You can get one of these."
That was pretty badass.
It was badass. That video was like, because they don't care, and that is an element to our camp out
Yeah.
of like, we don't care what you do, just come have fun.
Yeah.
That's literally it, and that's also my business model. I just want to have fun. I don't care what I do. I just want to have fun. I don't care about all the pressure of like all this other stuff. I just want to have fun. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
He cares.
I mean,
It's in his face.
yeah. I mean, I feel the stress this year.
he does, because he's like, man, new venue. And I'm like, dude, I'm done with this. He's like, I want to do it again. I'm like, well, if you want to do it again, find
He's
a place.
calling the sponsors Waterloo. I really care. I really fucking care. Trust me.
No, it's cool too. So like, because I don't know if it's, I don't know why.
I think the only thing, the bottom line, what I care about is whether or not people have fun and want to come back.
Yeah.
That's
it.
what I care about.
And that's what I said earlier. Like, I'm a people pleaser, so like that's why we're doing this, the brands to come in. It's like,
How'd you feel about Terralina last year?
I liked it because I don't.
We
like,
rode a lot together.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
And
we
I
had a
think-
little group.
Yeah.
The Houston guys.
that's what he said on the way up here.
Yeah. So I think for me, so when Leon and I came in, we came in
I ordered dinner too.
from
For raffle.
from Presidio. And so we came basically the same route that they were going to do the next day. They were going to go. They were going the opposite direction. And I remember talking with you. And we were like, at first we were stoked about going to the border and going across and getting some tacos. And so I think for me, I wasn't too keen on riding with about 30 people on that little skinny narrow road with all the twists and turns.
That's why we didn't
and I
do
just
any group
came that
rides.
way, and I knew there was rocks right in the middle of the road. So the last thing I wanted for somebody to slam on the brakes and you run right in behind them. So I was like, you talked about going, let's go run through Big Bend. And I'm like, yes, I'm down with that. And,
I thought James died last year.
well,
There's no service out there.
Well,
no, there
that-
was an
but
accident
so-
reported
so-
on like a lower or something, whatever.
yeah, there's a lowrider that got in an accident right in front
And
of the
me and my
campground.
wife were on my couch and we're like,
I was
I couldn't
asleep
get a
in
hold
my
of him. I
tent.
couldn't get up. And he's like, and I called Adam. He's like, it's okay. It's not James. I was like, oh, shit.
But to answer your question, I think other than it's being a little hot, I think maybe this year I know you got a hotel room last year, so I think maybe I might either rent a little house or something. I'm not disagreeing with you. I know I stayed in a camp.
With the dirt?
Yeah,
okay.
it's
I have
a
a
lesson
cabin
learned.
for my cat
No,
band.
I mean it's a lesson learned. Like
When you say I want to sleep in the dirt, but there's trees to make shade, that's different.
Yes.
I want to sleep in the dirt in the desert.
no,
Fuck
no. I mean, not to mention you could hear the coyotes howling the first night. It's just at a
I'll
distance.
fuck a coyote up, dude. I'll
Yeah.
fucking box him, motherfucker.
what are you, like a wolf?
But it was
I'll lead that pack, brother.
it was an experience for me because it was the first time I'd ever been out to West Texas, and as far as that far,
Agreed. Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't even realize. I mean, I've never been towards El Paso or anything like that as far as that kind of stuff. So for me to see, especially around, was it Mount Davis? I think is what it
Yeah,
was. Going
it's
through there,
beautiful.
yeah, going through there was beautiful. That's the first time. Well, second time I caught up with you. And then just through the Chisos Mountains right there in Big Bend, it was just phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I'm ready. I'm looking forward to going back
Same.
this year.
Same. Yeah, that area
If
is
you
nice.
ride your FXR Tour bike, I'll come with you, so we can go up to Durango after that. 'Cause
I'm
it's
planning
like
on
kind
it.
of like right there.
Yeah, I
Almost.
feel like what's going to end up happening though is like I'll probably leave Friday or even possibly Saturday morning, depending on how quickly things get done. Because not only that, like we still have to host a pre-party.
Yeah, I know.
Here,
Yeah.
at Strokers, and so I got to set everything up for that to go off good, so that I can leave a week before, and then come back and everything's running.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I'm excited for the Strokers thing because last year the Born Free pre-party was tight, and I
Yeah.
think bringing the element of like come see these bikes at the same time,
yeah.
stellar. It's gonna be tight.
Dude, it's gonna be good. Like, so we all got booths at Texas
Tight.
at Born Free Texas.
Yeah, Lisa emailed me. She's like, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna cancel your invoice." I was like, "Thanks."
So we all got booths down in the bowl. This year's Born Free is a 4-day event,
Yep.
which is perfect. I think it's a good addition to allowing Born Free Texas to be different than California.
It's always gonna be different.
It is,
Dude,
yeah.
so for the first time ever, I was in California on top of going to Born Free California for the first time. So there's 2 first times. And I was like, this is really cool, but this is that balloon deal again. Like, even talking to, Chip from San Diego and Steve from Speed Kings are like, man, this is wild this year. Like, this is so many more.
It was big this year.
It was crazy.
It was a lot
dude.
bigger this year.
But it was so inspiring to see so many faces so excited about something that I know like the nitty gritty about, where people are like, this shop, this bike, this dude's upset, like, all the trials and tribulations of like how that dude got the bike there, that they're just
Yeah.
like, cool bike, cool color, cool swing. You're like, no, like, so to bring that to Texas and it still be so small,
Yeah.
I'm so excited because there's so much, so many years, not so much. There's so many years left in that thing.
Yeah.
And then to grab a hold of what you and Justin came up with the FXR tour, genius. Like, absolutely. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, you took a platform that's older than I am, and you made it relevant again, on top of taking a show that is about to blow, and then brought it back, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I definitely want to take more credit than Justin deserves. It's I think some people know the story, but like Justin and I were both expecting to build bikes for Harley this year for Born Free, and that fell through in December, and we had already had the conversation at the Down South Campout about the FXR tour, and so when that fell through, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because looking back at it now, it would have been awesome to build a bike for Harley. I mean, watching Thrashin' and Ray Ripple and all them like just do the last
experience with that. I had a dealership hit me up and offer me a lowrider ST, and I said no.
Why?
Because I don't want to. I don't.
Well, but you're an FXR guy. So.
I'm not an FXR guy. I have an FXR, and I love FXRs. I'm a motorcycle dude. I'm a Harley dude. But that's...
Well, how many Softails have you built?
I didn't build any Softails, and I didn't want to because I don't want to.
Well, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I can...
But would you stick with what you like?
I stick with what makes it fun.
Well, what made you, like, what was the stipulation, though?
The stipulation was... I do this, I give it to you, you sell it, and you make money off of me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, I would be
Takes the fun out of it. Because there's all of a sudden, like, don't use this, don't do that. We want this. We want to make sure you include this. And I'm like...
Yeah, no, that doesn't... I mean...
All they wanted at the end of the day was the flavor of the week. And I'm not going to be scooped up.
Was it Central Harley?
Nope.
Nope. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
From the camera.
I'm just saying, like, don't try to scoop up the flavor of the week.
Well, yeah, a lot of that's we talk about this so much on this podcast about like these dealerships and why like I align myself with certain people within them is for a reason. It's because like it's not like I'm not getting fucked by working with Tommy in any aspect.
I love Tommy.
You know what I mean?
Tommy is one of the best things recently that's ever happened to the scene in my hometown.
Yeah.
Period. For one reason and one reason only. He is a biker, and he's also a really good dude who obviously he works for Cowboy Harley Davidson, and most dealerships will not support an independent shop. Tommy's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He has literally no financial gain or any gain from linking up with me and offering me a bike night and then sponsoring the camp out.
Yeah.
It's fucking Harley Davidson. Like, really? If anybody's going to benefit, it's me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love so much because he really cares. Like,
well, I think that Tommy, really wants to. He's ventured out from Austin. Obviously, he's not from there, but he spent a lot of time there. So he's ventured out. He's seen what it could be,
right?
And he wants to bring that flavor back to Austin and kind of like turn it into something like Austin has the potential to be a mecca. It does,
for sure. And that's what I was saying earlier. Was like at the bottom you're competing, at the top you collaborate.
Yeah.
So, he invited me to the race week thing. He's like, hey, man, set up a booth, be a guest judge for the bike show. That's not Harley. That's Tommy. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll do that for Tommy because that dude is solid as hell. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot for me, and I'm willing to return the favor. Absolutely. Hands down. Like,
so with Austin, like, it's like I said, Austin has the potential to become a mecca motorcycle place. It already has a chopper connection. Matt Jackson and a lot of the, Ryan and those guys with the Bistrip dudes.
Yep.
Like there's a chopper connection there that's you don't really have to fucking that doesn't need to be exploited. Those dudes already got it.
Yeah, they got it.
How do you create the other thing?
It's an anthill.
But take away the patch.
It's an anthill. You need somebody who's willing to like put their flag at the top and be like, I'm the queen ant.
See, I want to do a bike night there. I don't know. I've already thought about like we've considered moving there many times. Me and my wife.
It's expensive as fuck.
Well, you know,
Paint jobs.
I'm not going to try to paint.
I mean,
I'm not going to paint.
I'm done.
I'm not going to call him dad. No, we've thought about it a lot, and I've met some people. Like I got a homie, Richie Fell. He runs a couple restaurants down there.
I know what you're talking about.
And meeting him and his wife, especially, I met him because he invited me and my wife to dinner to one of the restaurants that he runs, and it was a fucking amazing experience. Then I met him again and his wife's cool as shit. She's in the fashion world, which you would think like what's the fashion? Like we're bikers, we're fashion people, dude. We really are. We act like we're not because we're dickies all the time.
But
But
we're not. You are.
calm down, dude.
You always wear like some like fresh ass Vans. Like
Really?
fresh ass.
You gave me a T-shirt that says Easy Rider Cycles. It's fucking 90s cut,
Hey, bro.
big
Look at those
boxy.
hats.
It is box. Look at the same
It's
thing.
boxy as
Yeah.
shit. It's got like
Sorry, dude.
it's got fucking what do they call it
Sorry,
when they
dude.
stonewash jeans kind of
Hey, it's
vibe
already-
going?
Comfort colors, baby.
The Easy E style, like California.
He said
hats.
that at Texas Hills. He's like, you got this Easy E vibe. I was like, oh no, it's at your camp out. I was like, do I really? You're like, yeah, with the hair. I was like, I just don't have time to get a
You do
haircut.
have that, yeah.
I was like, I don't have
But you still like Taliban though.
He does.
Hey, what does
I
Eric
tell you
say?
this shit all the
No,
time.
Eric's
Dude,
like-
you gotta fucking trim that
Yeah,
fucking
Eric's
jihadi
like,
fucking
Dude, you
beard,
could be
dude.
an extra in a movie.
Yeah, Eric was like, Easy Rider Cycle, we the bomb. I was like- He's like, talk
can
shit,
see-
we gonna blow it up. I was like, oh, fucking guy, dude.
Eric's got it on point on that
Eric
one.
is a
yeah.
good dude, yeah.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. Easy Rider's like, we the bomb. The whole way to California, I was like, shit. We're like in Arizona, and Chooch is like, bro, you gotta get back in that truck. I was like, why? He's like, I want my neighbors thinking I'm over here fucking making side deals. I was like, we're like
Saudi
unloading
deals.
shit. He's like, man, that,
We got IEDs on the
he's
side of the
like,
road.
we're done. He's like, man, you better be lucky that you're sleeping in my house. I wake up and I don't have fucking flashbacks. I'll choke your ass out. I was like, yeah, dude. He's like, my wife made that bed. I was like, oh shit, dude. Like, don't fucking kill me.
Well, if you just like shave your beard a
I
little
know,
more.
just shaped it up a little bit.
No, fuck no.
You got Matt does it too. Like your beard just grows everywhere.
Yeah.
You got yours cut recently, right?
Here's the thing.
No, I've just been straightening it so
Okay.
it doesn't
Okay.
go out all over the place.
We're gonna have a camera on you. Damn it. People need to see that. The thing is,
I mean, if I don't do anything to it, it'll look like that. Just
I don't do
Yeah,
anything.
like
I don't do anything either.
But that's
I don't
it.
do anything
you
either.
do something to it.
I don't
You do something
no,
to it.
I don't need to do a fucking thing. You know what I do? Wake up, go to work, go to bed. That's all I need to do.
So you got two new trademarks now, right? We got Easy
Easy
Rider
Rider Cycle, we the bomb.
and Easy Rider trailers.
Performance trailers. Chooch, I need you to flame my trailer out. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. We're gonna
Because
pull back.
he doesn't ride his bike anywhere. He trailers it everywhere he goes now.
I can't.
He opens up a motorcycle shop.
Motherfucker, I don't have a license.
he
I mean,
trailers his bike everywhere he goes.
bitch.
sometimes you have to compromise.
I don't have the means of legally riding my motorcycle at the moment. So, see you guys in 14 months.
Right.
Fuck you guys. I hate you, James, because you know everything about me.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, anyways.
Let's see all the mean comments about Rennie's beard.
How about you tell everybody about the camp out while I go pee?
Oh, so you're just gonna leave me here by myself?
Yeah,
dude. One-on-one.
yeah, you can handle it.
All right. So just to catch everybody up, the Lone Star 3 Campout is August 11th through the 12th. We have a pre-party at Cowboy Harley in Austin, in South Austin on August 10th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Again, it's they're going to have some food out there, sponsored. Well, not really sponsored, but Eric will be out there with Wagyu burgers. Their trailer, they're going to be providing food, as well as the fact that we'll, like Jace talked about earlier, we'll have a quality bikini bike wash out there.
Oh, hell yeah.
As well as free beer. So everybody come out there, have a good time. After 7 o'clock, we're going to basically take what we call the quote-unquote run to the river, is where we're going to basically run down to the river. And for those that want to set up a day early, get your tent sites and everything set up so that you're ready to roll on Friday. When Friday rolls around, like I said, we're going to have an organized float on Friday from 12 to 5 p.m. Right there on the river. What they're going to do is Rocking R is going to take us a mile up the road, drop us off, and we'll float down to the river. We'll end up right there, basically, right at the campsite. We have, like I said, we have a promo code as far as getting a discount on the inner tubes. I don't know how much it is. Yeah, on floating. I don't know how much we're saving. I really don't know. I haven't really looked at the price. I just know I talked to the lady at Rocking R. They told me to get a hold of corporate. I got a hold of corporate. The lady, he said, yeah, we would love to do something with you guys.
When I think of a corporate place, a corporate facility that sells tubes that float down a river, what comes to mind? Like a repurposed Taco Bell?
Hey man, don't disrespect my homeboy.
I'm just saying.
I love Taco.
I'm just saying. Like,
I'm literally at
what
this
kind
moment
of
working on
corporate?
Taco
What does
Bell
that look like?
sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, you would think about it. I mean,
I'm
it's,
gonna Baja blast the shit out of y'all. If I keep talking shit about Taco Bell.
no, what I mean, yeah, you're talking about a corporate entity. I mean, but when you're talking about a river rafting company, I mean, how corporate is it? They're right there in New Braunfels.
Yeah, we walked up. The owner's like, "Did you forget your ID?" We're like, "Am I bald?" She's like, "No, you're the last one here, and I seen this ID sitting here." We're like, "Yeah, that's not us. Can we just talk to you about something else right now?" Like,
So she was like, "So what are y'all looking to do?" And I was like, "Well, so we're gonna have a camp out.
We want to float the river.
Yes, I said,
all we wanna do.
I really pointed. I was like, "This whole river right here, this side, this campground, is literally reserved for us."
and she was like this.
And she goes, "Well, how many people are you expecting?" I said, "I don't, maybe 200." And her eyes got like donuts. She was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna need some advance notice to be able to handle that many people." And I was like, "Really? I mean, y'all handle probably that many people a day on a weekend. Like, how is that big of a deal?" So either way, she gave me the phone number. I called and I talked to the lady, and then I had to email a couple of people. But nevertheless, they were gracious enough to come through with a discount for us. So we'll have a discount. We'll post it. Like I said, we're gonna have 2 group floats both Friday and Saturday. Outside of that, it's just more or less just everybody having fun. Like I said, go to the River Road Ice
Jason's
House.
giving away custom painted helmet.
Yes.
He'll paint your bagger while you're there.
Dude, I'm still
He'll
trying.
clear coat over
I'm
the
trying to make
sand.
sure I can make it. No, I'm
It's all
fucking.
good.
I think
He's accepting podcast requests.
Yeah, he's accepting podcast requests. He's looking for guests.
we should be home from Sturgis by Wednesday. My goal is to, even if I drive down, I'm planning on coming. So
You
So
can
I-
come to the pre-party? The Thursday?
yeah, I really want to ride down there, but I don't.
There's 2 dudes that I know that are driving, and they feel so
I sold
bad. I'm like,
all
"It's
of
okay."
my. I sold all. No, I didn't sell. I've left all of my camping gear. Every place I've been this year. So I've always had like 3 tents. I have
You need
a
a room?
small, medium, and then the big boy.
So you need
right?
a room in a cabin?
No. I'm.
Sure.
I need to figure out
I know
like
a guy. They have a cabin.
You got cabins selling?
No, we're camping, dude.
Hey, I'd sleep on a couch.
From my understanding, so the lady,
They already sold out.
yeah, they have 3 cabins out there. One of them, which is like right there where we're at, she reserved it for us. So we
For
have
you guys,
that.
I'll be in a tent.
Yeah, and then 2 other cabins, which are 8-man cabins, which she said described it as bunk style beds.
Yeah,
They're
but
not really
they're
bunk
already
style; they're
sold
just
out.
single. But yeah, the day we posted that video, they were already booked.
Yeah, there's people that are already like bringing RVs in, and I'm like, you
I was
guys
staying in
are.
one of their RVs.
One, I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys are kind of like losing sight of the mission here.
Well, I think. Well, okay. Well,
I get it. It's
We're
not
too
for-
deep in this podcast to like open that can of worms. But
Yeah, it's not for everybody. We
people
get
in general are. A lot of people have taken. You know, they started this path in motorcycling
it. For sure.
Bare bones, camping, traveling, and
You
I get it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're getting older; they just done it, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
they don't feel the inspiration to do so. But when you're trying to host a camp out and you're trying to get people to throw everything they need on the back of a bike and then live on their bike for a week and a half or whatever, and then you go to a place where most of the people there that are kind of like the who's who is in a RV
Yeah.
or a cabin.
Yeah.
I get the disconnect that they feel, or it doesn't matter when you go to Sturgis. If you go to Sturgis and somebody rides there and you didn't, it doesn't matter if you've ridden there 50 times and this is
Right.
the one year you drove.
You're
You didn't
you're gonna get
ride.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
You didn't
time we
ride.
went and we stayed at that campground was it Days End?
Days End?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that place is.
I think
sick.
out of all the places I've been to where I would camp, there's only 2 places. So last year I went to your camp out. I stayed in an RV. This year I had like
He's part of the problem.
Yeah, well, but
I
this
had
year,
an RV also.
but this year,
It wasn't my RV, but I was invited.
but this year I had a tent, so I stayed in. It was like a big tent, like you had. Like
I
cabin
stayed in
tent.
tents.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like even
Yeah.
I mean, not Texas Hills, but Born Free, you were like right there in a tent. Like so, I think what happens.
Born Free?
Yeah, I think
was
that's
too.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, the only one. That
I was sick. I had COVID the whole time.
I remember that. I walked up. You're like, hey. I was like,
I tried to rally one night and fucking happened again the next night. Dude, it was the worst event. There were so many people I wanted to meet at Born Free, Texas, and I just was stuck in a fucking tent the whole time.
That's what you said.
Yeah, you look like death
Yeah, I walked
whenever
up on
came
you
out
like,
of the
hey
tent.
man, I'd like to say hey, but like I was like, cool man, don't do that to me. My
Well,
bike's sick.
we did Terralingua,
Yeah.
and then we literally got back from Terralingua, and then we started kicking off. I had Millhouse, Instab and Kyle, and all of them show up into Dallas, and so I was hosting all these people all week in Texas before the Born Free Texas, and then Born Free Texas pre-party at Strokers was it was a lot for me because I don't like to half-ass anything. So
Yeah, it's fun.
we were riding around, me, Instab and Kyle, and I think Jaden, we were going to every Hobby Lobby and Party City trying to find tickets, like double numbered tickets to give away for all the giveaways at the bike night
Right.
or the pre-party. Dude, I had a breakdown at that point. I had a point in time where me and my wife got in a fight, me and my friends got in a fight. Not fight like this, but like an argument.
Disagreement.
I'm like, I'm fucking losing my shit.
Yeah.
Like I was losing my shit because
Yeah, I
was
walked up to you at the end of the night and you were like, I was like, hey man, you're like, no, not right now. I was like, okay, cool, I'll see you tomorrow.
I was
You're like, it's not you, it's me. I was like,
so the
oh,
next
you're bringing
day,
up me, bro? Like,
it's evident. The next day, FXR division, Brian, TBJ, Justin, and Big Chris were in the studio, and we did a podcast before we left to go to the campground. And I'm in the podcast like, dude, I don't feel good, dude. I don't feel right. Road to fucking Texas or to the Dill,
yeah.
and then as soon as I got there, got the tent set up, and just fucking bombed.
Crashed.
KTM division.
KTM division. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think the campout's gonna be good there. I'm not saying that it doesn't need to stay there. Obviously, it does not need to stay this close to Sturgis. That's not a good idea.
No.
It is a great idea.
No, well,
No.
This,
What do you mean?
This is a one-off as far
It's
as
not a
we can
good
disagree.
idea.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why.
We can agree.
You know the reason why I've
disagree.
never been to a up north campout is because it's too close to Sturgis.
Because you're an industry dude. This is not pointed for
Oh, yeah,
industry people.
he wanted to put this as a kind of like an
Fuck
FU
you,
type
Sturgis.
Sturgis
Yeah,
type
hey,
this year.
fuck it. Can't make it to Sturgis? Come to our campout.
Yeah, but
But at the
To
same
be a
time,
man and do it during Sturgis.
we are. We're doing the last.
well, it's the last
Nobody
weekend
goes
of
the
Sturgis.
last week of
I know.
Sturgis.
That's what I was like.
Nobody's there in Sturgis. The people that are there in Sturgis the last week,
Look, the next time I'll be at Sturgis.
we fucked up.
Next time I'll be at Sturgis will be probably like next year.
Yes, exactly.
Only because I have something that I want to like.
Well, I know, and that's
Yeah.
I plan on being at
I
Sturgis
have
next year too.
obligations.
So I'm not going to do Sturgis and turn around and do a camp out the following weekend. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but who really goes to Sturgis anymore?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Industry people.
No, I think that Sturgis is
Sturgis has some of the best riding in the country. Period.
But not during Sturgis.
Sturgis is FXR. All right. Everybody in this world that rides a motorcycle needs
You have
to
to go
experience
once.
it.
Sure, but once you do that, then you're done with it, and you're like, what else can I do?
Yeah, but you don't ever want someone to be. I don't ever want anybody to decide to be a part of something I'm doing or Sturgis.
No, me either. Absolutely not. But it just so happened, and the only reason that we changed the date was
well, that's amazing. We would change the days because of your guys' trip.
Yeah, and then like
Because otherwise-
the next trip, yeah,
Because otherwise, we would have kept the same thing, which is done it in September.
I like that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's so that's
still
like
September in Texas. Like down in New Braunfels at the same campground, they used to do a thing called the Lone Star River Run.
Yep.
And that used to take place right where you're doing it.
Yep.
And they did it in October. But then October is a very, very busy fucking time in Texas with motorcycling.
Right.
Obviously with Terralingua and then obviously Born Free
Born
Texas
Free,
now. That's why I kept, when Texas Hills came back, I was like, look, fucking March, dude, it's right there. Nobody's doing anything.
Next year, March, Texas Hills.
No, they fucking put it back into the same dates.
No, they didn't.
it was April, wasn't it?
Same dates.
More
From
than
what I
anything
understand,
again?
same dates.
It's not. They've changed it.
Since They announced?
Yeah, they've already announced it. There's already new artwork. There's already people getting invitations.
We're gonna fact check that.
Fact check
check
it. Thank you, Joe Rogan. Fact check it. They've already pushed it up. It's like months away at this moment. The only aspect that's going away from that is the giveaway bike.
Yeah, but who fucking even knows? Like, whoever remembers who won a bike? The only thing we know, Cano won a bike at the last Texas Hills, and that was the last time we ever.
Most people know who won my bikes.
Texas Hills, May 25th, 26th, 2024.
Told you.
That's
the
what
same
he said,
weekend.
same
No, but I'm
weekend.
saying it's like months away at this point.
No, it's
he
always
said same month. That's what he said.
It's the same time.
Oh.
It's Memorial Day weekend next year.
My
Yeah.
bad. But they just announced it the same year that they just did it months away.
What he's trying to get at, or what he's
No, I know what
alluding
he's
to
saying.
is
I
that
tried to
bring
get
something in
them.
the
I
spring.
tried to get them to put it in the spring.
Yeah.
Can't.
They could have.
But they won't.
Yeah, because it was my idea.
That's all right.
Off camera?
That's all right. So I mean, so that's a very viable option next year. I mean,
Look, they did the event this year. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And I feel like they checked all the boxes they wanted on the event that they hosted, and I'm proud of that. So
I think they didn't.
You think I missed something?
They did.
what?
Because it was the year one that they were expecting so much more than what they anticipated because of the previous years, that they kind of fell short even on, and Mikey, Dustin, love you guys to death, promise you. But bands canceled. It was a nightmare because I was a part of it.
Yeah.
The bike that that they presented to me to try to figure out
Yeah.
fell short. The next one, I can confidently say will be more prepared for because we've already went through the mud. We figured out what didn't work,
Yeah.
and now we're ready for it, if that makes sense.
So if we're being super honest, I would say this. I would say that any event in the southern region, the more that we collaborate and work together
At the top,
and
gotta
listen
collaborate.
to each other, the better it is. No matter who owns it. I mean,
Nobody owns it.
Like when I realized, first off, like when I had a podcast with Mike from Born Free, and he told me some things on that podcast that we did, it really opened my eyes to things. It's not about owning every aspect of everything you do. It's about creating the best thing for the people out there. And sometimes that's collaborating with other people to create events. That's why when you're at Born Free this year, there's another chopper show in the back with Axel and the
Axel,
chicks.
What was it? Axel's Corner, where it was like girls only or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though in the industry, if you don't have these certain assets, you don't get these certain assets, I appreciated the fact that they gave her, because she worked for it. She really did. And I had to go dive in deep and figure out, like, how much work did this girl really put in? She put the work in, and she deserved it.
Yeah.
And kudos, right? Absolutely. But the only reason I was a part of something in my home state, an event, was because I voiced my opinion so much that these certain individuals had to acknowledge the fact that I was speaking my opinion, if that made sense.
So you pulled a Scott Wheeler?
Pull a Scott Wheeler on Torque Magazine, and then all of a sudden I'm a writer. I'm an editor. That's the truth. Like,
Yeah.
And, Dustin knows that. Mikey knows that. And I love them to death at this moment. And because of that, I feel like the show this year, the last one we just did, was probably the best thing that ever happened to Texas recently, as far as a homegrown grassroots event.
I felt alienated from the whole project.
I would agree with that.
I felt like I was expected to promote it, but had no say in it, and my opinion didn't matter. And that fucked with me, but I do love Mikey and Dustin and Tommy a lot. I mean, obviously, Tommy, I'm married to that motherfucker, but me and Mikey have, like, got to know each other quite a bit because I go to his bar all the time.
He's a good dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a good dude. White horse.
Dustin, I've known him for a long time. And then, like I said, we've kind of
I always am a person who's willing to say
look,
The truth.
I want the event to go good.
It's going to go good.
You know,
It's
but
going
I
to go
also
good. But here's what
I don't work for free, so
But
straight
you,
up.
but here's
even
what
if it's maybe not financial, but just acknowledgement.
Yeah, I kind of. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's not my place to say anything because I'm not involved as far as all that stuff.
This
but
is
I mean,
shit we should not be doing. On a
yeah,
podcast.
that's right.
that's
You're
me.
getting into
No, it's
talking.
no, it's
Yeah.
okay. No, because here's the
We
thing.
got 15 minutes.
It's okay. Here's the thing.
We'll make it an interesting 15 minutes.
Here's the thing. We're gonna make it very interesting. Here's the thing. If we can all support each other at the top,
Yeah.
we can collaborate. At the bottom, we compete. That's it.
Yeah,
There
what
you
you
go.
said earlier. Yeah, so I had fun. I definitely I feel undervalued in my own state a lot. The dealerships that I work around here in Texas, in North Texas, I feel like they don't. I feel undervalued like a motherfucker. I feel undervalued when people want to host events and they don't listen to me as somebody that has successful events.
But do you
I
have
feel
events in Texas? Do you do yeah,
Polar Ride.
I'm
I mean,
trying to-
Polar Ride was something that me and
I'm playing devil's advocate at this point. right?
Hood Ride was everybody keeps asking, wasn't that Hood Ride? I have events, but the reason why I never put one in Texas is because I'm not like trying to.
Be exclusive to Texas?
You
Yeah.
have to be.
Well, no, he doesn't have to be.
But I'm saying at the
Jason's
same.
like he's. I mean, I'm not trying to. Like,
Yeah.
But he's
Who
recognized.
do you think?
obviously, across the
I
United
mean,
States,
I
so-
mean, Born Free pre-party last year, like
Oh, y'all owned it.
yeah.
And we'll talk after this, but we'll talk about the pre-party for this upcoming year. But if you're willing to carry all that on your back,
I always have. The problem is like I've always wanted to do more with Texas, but I've never had support in Texas.
neither have I. But you have to create your own like segment to like support yourself. You have such a bigger platform than you actually realize, I feel like, at certain times. That
Don't tell me that. My head's already too big, dude.
it's not about being big-headed.
Nah,
it's about realizing
Yeah.
the truth, right? You guys do these rides across the whole country, but the one thing that stays the same is that you guys are all from Texas. And most people that are in the industry or in the scene realize where you're from, and they want to duplicate what you're doing across the other states. But the fact of the matter is, Fast Life Garage Podcast, whether you want to paint or not, is here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're willing to like own that and like push that even harder and stop like pretending like you don't have this influence, then all of a sudden people accept it.
Yeah, maybe. So when Zombie Mike was still a part of a lot of things, I think I had, I had somebody that like I love Zombie a lot.
He's a good dude.
I miss him in our industry. I think he had a great level head, and he was a good like collaborator to bring people
He
together.
was also like starting this thing,
Yeah,
and then like, oh fuck, I was like super excited. Like the Houston shit, I was like,
Yeah.
here we go.
When everything popped back off in Austin with Texas Hills, I mean it's difficult because what I immediately thought of is the last 4 years of nothing in Texas and us doing hood rides, us doing polar rides, Houston Dino Crew and those guys kind of bringing together. Like we all figured out how to keep Texas on the map, right? And then this thing comes along, and we're not a part of it. We're supposed to be spectators.
But it's a beautiful thing that it did come back along.
It is dude. This is a fuck situation to be in.
It is.
Because
It
I'm
is.
not trying to like discredit any of it.
No. It's
but
beautiful
it's ego.
for
We're talking ego, right?
yeah,
now.
but it's beautiful
You know?
for one reason and one reason only, because they were willing to open up and be like, look, this is coming back. We don't know what this looks like in the future. Put in the
I think that
put in the work, right?
I think I scare people. I think
No,
I
you
scare
don't.
people.
No,
No,
you
I
don't.
think I scare them because they don't
You
want
don't.
me to be a part of their events because I overpower.
You don't.
I am aggressive.
I'll be honest
You
with you.
somehow overshadow.
I'll be honest
I might
with you.
overshadow the original owner of a situation.
You
and
don't, because those two dudes that are involved with that have really, they don't even want people to know what they their face looks like, their name is. They really
I agree.
They really, at the end of the day, what they want
Yeah.
to do is they want to promote independent riding and shops that people
The
are
way
up
they
and coming.
marketed Texas Hills and about they killed it with that shit. The way that they
I think they didn't.
Because
Because
hear me out.
there's so much introvert their personality that they're so afraid to like step out of the box and be like, hey guys, they're like, they can't do that.
I think that to your point, on the internet nowadays, you need a face on everything.
You absolutely do.
But the way that they portrayed the hill country and giving people like ideas of what to do, like
Oh, that was beautiful.
yeah, the curation
You
of
could
their
have
page and how they put it out, it was beautiful.
Yeah, they could have sold that right there in a postcard.
But like I said, it's one of those weird things. Like it's close to home. You know what I mean?
It
As
is.
far as like it's close to our camp out, so it's hard to be like 100% promoting this event that's needs to be promoted while I'm promoting my event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that
Those
becomes
are two totally different.
they are, but they aren't. They are, but they aren't. The same customer comes to our events,
I
and
get
you're
that.
asking two people to come to Texas 2 separate times within a month from each other.
I get that.
You know?
But at the same time, if that was the case, you probably wouldn't have us on promoting our camp out because it's the same customer, even though it's a different space
but
and
it's
time.
It's space. It's
Yeah,
space
yeah,
and
it's
time.
space and time.
You know?
But like I said, at the top, you have to collaborate.
Yeah, trust me, I know that. I know that like being in the space is like you don't want to, everybody that you don't connect with becomes your competition. So either you start a camp out regardless of whether I fucking want you to or not.
Yeah.
So I either connect with you guys and support what you're doing if I think it's fucking legit. If I don't, there's other camp outs that started. I never fucking like, this is bullshit. I'm not fucking being a part of it, right? But that's the choice that I got to make, and it's a place I got to be in. And I try to base that assumption off of who the people are that are doing it, and if I know them and I know their intentions.
Yeah.
Right?
And I knew early on, like when you invited me to that Simpson show camp out.
Yeah.
It's been such a crazy ride, dude. Like if I can finally like, and I know like I'm very bad at like speaking and like talking timeline, but like that's where it really started was years ago when you invited me off of like a stupid thing that I did. And I was like, cool, here it goes with my little fucking diner or whatever. You're like, hey man, and I think there was like 15 to 18 people there. There's like Larry, Jose.
Yeah.
It was you. I think Kyle was like passed out on the fucking park bench.
Jaden just bought a brand new bike.
Yeah, and
showed up.
that right there, that moment, that is exactly what I've been chasing for the last like 6 to 7, 8 years, right?
Yeah.
The Simpson show, we showed up to the show, got a tour of the factory, but the most fun was had at that campground where I didn't know a single individual. I showed up in the middle of the night at like 11:30, and here comes Jose to like crack open his cooler, help me set up my tent. I'm like,
You know what it was? The helmet sacrifice.
The helmet sacrifice.
the helmet sacrifice.
That's what it was.
That, like that stuff right there, you can't lose sight of that no matter what happens to you in your career.
So let me tell you this. So if you're lucky in your career in motorcycling, you get to have so much of these smaller, intimate events
Yeah.
that they always become the catalyst of why you ride bikes. Because quickly it could be that event and then it's the big events. It's like that was your only one that you ever experienced and then bam.
But I'm still holding on to that one.
True.
Even, like dead ass to this moment.
A lot of the people
I'm still holding on to that one.
a lot of the people in our inner circle that help create the camp out, we all want a camp out that's 50 people.
I do too, and that's what I told him too. He's like, hey man, there's what'd you say, 48 sites. They can hold 4. He's like, that's 196. I go,
First
no.
off, that campground knows what the business is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what
Sell
I told
a
him?
fucking wristband.
Yeah, you know what I told him?
Camp wherever you can fit.
Yeah, you know what I told him? I said, no, we're gonna cap this bitch at 100. He goes, no, we can't. I said, no, we can. What do you mean we can't?
I get part of the exclusivity of it. I understand that because then it makes it feel special. But at the same time, I don't necessarily want to segregate people, if you will, and like, make it to where it's like, oh no, like you can't come. No, so
It's not about that.
it's that's the
It's
way I
not that they can't come. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
they
just-
chose not to come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
but
get
it's just
that.
like
So-
we're trying to create an environment where I don't want you to be over there and we're over here. That's all it comes down to.
all I care about is just having a good time with like-minded
Exactly.
individuals. At the end of the day, that's all that matters to me.
That's why, like we said earlier, and we got to wrap this up here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
you're good.
When you start adding the T-shirts, the hats, the memorabilia for the event, it becomes a little bit different than just we're doing this thing, show up or don't.
Yeah.
Because when I have no money invested, I don't give a fuck if you show up or
Right.
not. When I have $5,000 invested into this thing, I want to sell those T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're to the point to where you can have $5,000 invested.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but then
Let's
I don't,
just,
I don't necessarily
you know.
want to be the guy sitting there like selling T-shirts for fucking the whole day.
That's why.
Or having to go to like Texas Hills and sell Fast Life Campout T-shirts because you had too many extra, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can understand that.
And that's why we do it the way we do it.
Yeah. Well,
But I do love this. Is like I don't have an online store, and I like the aspect that like the people. Every time I post any picture or video, somebody has a shirt that we have. Like, where did I get one of those? I'm like, at an event.
yeah.
Show up and earn it.
If you see somebody with the FL logo on their back, they got it from an event.
Right.
They were there.
You know, so like pansy or queer, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I have
more?
like I have a multitude of like shirts and shit that I've like accumulated from certain events that have the FL, and I don't even wear them because I'm like, this is like the Easy Rider, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like I put it. No, I'm not gonna lie. For one reason. So my oldest son finally, like,
Is this the last time Easy Rider Cycles is on the Fast Life podcast?
maybe, I don't know. We'll see. No, so my oldest son, he finally came to me. He goes, "Hey man, what is this? What is this?" And he was talking about the time that my wife was there at the campout, right? So I was like, "Well, that was a major event." He's like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Well, this was a time when like before anybody like kind of knew or thought they knew or whatever, that we just showed up and we just like had fun. And then we threw our camp out, and then my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's fucking 7 years old. Mm-hmm. To this day, every day when I get home, you know what she asks me? When's the camp out? When's the camp out? When's the camp out? Literally. That's how inspiring what you have done has translated to what we're doing.
Yeah, so
to
our kids are now wanting
yeah,
to know when the campouts are.
literally to where like they can't even fathom or understand what really is going on.
Yeah.
But they get it. They feel it. And that's what I want to keep. And that's what I told James on the way up here. I was like, "Hey man, I've created this whole nother segment and you can have it." For one reason, because I know soon enough I can't feel that anymore. And it scares me because he can own it, right? Like he can continue to keep it what it should be. Mm-hmm. And when you recognize that and you're like ahead of it and you just get rid of it, it's like having a baby, literally, where you're like, I know or having a baby and putting it up for adoption. You're like, I can't support this thing like because I'm such a whatever. You're like, you can have it. And that's what I told him.
Well,
he's like, I didn't want, whatever.
The main thing is I'm not in this. I mean, we
You're not,
we
and that's
we,
what's
we
best
did this
about it.
together.
That's
just
the
like,
best thing about
yeah,
it.
well, we're doing this together, just like you and your guys you're doing it together, right? But for me, I don't want this to be like, I'm not trying to turn into like an event coordinator. You know what I mean? If I got to start doing that, then it's lost all of its
Yeah, but
fun.
that's what's so beautiful about this venue. Like, they're willing to accept the reservations. They're going to make the list. They're going to get the wristbands. Like, remember when we told that girl, like, when we were there, we're like, "Hey, man, we're going to have, like, 100 bikers here?" She's like, "Whoa, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, so, like, are you working?" She's like, "No, I'm not working. I can't work that weekend. I'm sorry. It sounds too much for me." It's like, cool.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it gets to a point to where some people can't handle it, and I kind of just want to pass it off.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, there's points and times where The problem is anytime, like if I were to call it the middle of America campout, then I would have the anonymity to remove myself from it. But I called it the fast life. And it's connected to a lot of people that went to the first campout, like Matt and many other dudes in our scene. And so even though like it's evolved and it's become like this thing that's kind of more associated with my brand, who I am doesn't allow me to not extenuate the fact that it's also my friends that created this, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And the problem is like I don't have it in me to let anything happen without me like being a part of it. If my name's on it, I'm a part of it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I don't half-ass anything I do in my life. You know what I mean? And when I think about this year's campout,
it was big, dude.
It was big. It wasn't as big as last year.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't as many people. But
I came last year and I came this year, and I felt like it was bigger this year for some. Maybe the bike show.
No, well, I see what you mean. Like it didn't feel like the number of people were there this year as it was last year, but I felt like the people that were there, I feel like had a better quality time.
Yeah, obviously the less people, the better.
Yeah.
Right. But I did see people there from when I went to the Down South campout and I had held court around a campfire. I saw people that were there that came this year for the first time. When I went to Salt Lake City and hung out with those people earlier this year and told them about this, I saw those people at the campout. So when I travel, like I'm talking about the podcast, the campout, the fucking all this shit. Like I'm just like this regurgitation of everything going on.
Right.
And then when it comes to the campout, I'm like, okay, yeah.
So when you find success in your campout, do you find it within bringing in new blood, or do you find it within having?
It's hard to define what success is.
No, because I saw you like working. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's working. It's like an
you're
opportunity
running around,
to create.
like, shooting and videoing and
sweeping up freaking what's his name's the burnout on the stage.
Yeah.
Sitting
Like,
down Steve's burnout on the
like,
stage. You're sitting there sweeping up freaking tire.
That was tight.
It's what was the question again?
The question was, so when you find success in your campout, and then I mentioned that I came last year and previous years and whatever, and then this year, like I really saw you like working to like capture, to try to like.
I wouldn't consider that work. I think that's what I really want to be in my life. I love photography. I have a love-hate relationship with video, but I love photography. And so like my favorite things from the campout were the film things that I shot, which I got a couple homies on the film that were like fucking perfect. You know what I'm saying? There's a point in time where like you have to accept the fact that like you create an event and it's up for the people that show up to create their own experience.
Yeah.
And that acceptance, I've gotten past that. This year's campout was more cringe for me because I tried to be more vocal on stage.
Yeah.
And ended up hating that I did that because
It was fun.
I got drunk.
It was fun.
And I'm talking shit on stage, and I didn't necessarily want to be that person.
You forgot his name.
Well, I don't even remember that.
You fell. I picked you up. It was great.
I fell?
Yeah, I had to pick you up. I was like,
See, I don't want to do
"Chase,
that.
Get over here.
I don't want to do that.
I tell you created memories for other people. I put it that way.
But that's what originally, and so like when those moments happen, that is deep down.
I feel safe, though.
But but that's deep down in your heart what you really want to be doing while you're
Having fun.
while you're hosting
fun.
this
Yeah.
thing, right? Like,
We're at hour 5 of a podcast. Here we go. It was, I will say this, I felt safe to be that person there, but it's not necessarily somebody I wanted to be there.
looked good on you.
Yeah.
You owned it. You owned it.
I would say you look like you had more fun this year.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like I could have got myself canceled if the right people were there.
There's worse things you've said and done that would have got you
For
canceled.
real? But
You
no.
made it through and you're all right. So
Anyway, no, it was cool. Like Matt killed the trophy this year for the club style
Yeah, he
games.
did.
Yeah.
The club style games was an idea that I have ownership of. I really thought of that thing, and it came to fruition. The trophy he built was badass. The way that people came together to kind of come together on that was
shit looked like
amazing.
a fraternity fucking hazing. It's like drink 6 or no, what was it? 5 hot ass beers per person.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But
Drink
I think
eat all these beans. Like what?
At the end of the day, though,
hell?
I think what it did is it provided the entertainment that people are like looking for, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to host a camp out and keep everybody engaged the entire time.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be a ride like Talamina or in this case, you know, the Texas Hill Country or River Float or whatever the case may be, but it's keeping people engaged and have a reason for them to come back. And I feel like the club style games this past year was
fun.
It was fun, but it was also funny. It kept everybody entertained. It didn't matter if you were drunk or sober. You were laughing your ass off.
All
you
the
look at
people were
RD
scared.
puking off the side of the stage.
Dude,
You
I
look
set
at
that
you look
one
at
dude up. I was
everybody
like, hey
eating
man, what
beans.
you need to do is you need to crack that beer and pour it in a cup. He drank that first cup. He's like, this is terrible. I was like, I know.
And there's also the anticipation because you look at Steve, who looks like a freaking Viking, right? And we're waiting on him to drink, and he never even got the opportunity because everybody puked before him. So it was like, you know, it was just like it was the buildup and anticipation of it. It was fantastic. I enjoyed myself. My girlfriend Cheska, she enjoyed herself. It was her first camp out, and she was already asking me like, when's next year? I was like, I don't know yet.
My wife came to one. She's like, I'm done.
But she leaned all into it. She had a blast, so she's ready to go back next year. So that to me
that's
is
cool.
what it's all about.
Yeah, the club style games was a good hit, and we're definitely gonna be leaning into that more next year. A lot of the club style people didn't want to fucking do it because
You gonna do more club style games next year?
No, we're gonna do it again next year for sure, but definitely gonna be the same things.
So my only question with the club style games would be, we talked about this on the way here.
Did we?
We did. So the giveaways, I feel like can't be so much exclusive because there's so many people that show up that want to do what we used to do, where it's like, hey man, Lexin's over by the rock, run. And then the whole remember like 3 years ago when like the whole crowd broke up and ran?
Yeah.
Versus like setting this like controlled experiment or whatever you want to call it. That's just more fun to me, I feel like. And I'm not trying to like disrespect.
Now that we've kind of established this, if we get more of the club style pages to lean into it and commit to it, then we can get bigger prizes from brands because they can now sponsor the club style games.
Yeah,
Therefore,
but what happens to that one dude who just like shows up and he's like,
dude, people get fucked every day.
we'll run with that. But you know,
I'm not here to
You're not catering to
unfuck the
everybody,
one
right?
No,
fucking
I
idiot.
understand that. I understand. I'm just saying, like we talked about, like how
You're thinking like everybody gets a trophy shit.
Yeah.
everybody
Participation?
has
No,
an
absolutely not.
opportunity to.
Everybody
get a
has
trophy?
an opportunity. You know what? We had to
participation
create a
trophy is one
team
here.
for
Yeah, but
club style
imagine
on
the
the
dude
spot
from-
because they bitched out.
I know, but imagine a dude from Vermont. The fuck's he gonna do?
Well, I mean,
He could put a Nomad team together.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm on his team. I'm on Nomad team.
The problem is, like, you got to put a Nomad team together and then promote it online before you show up.
Yeah.
You can't just be like showing up like, hey, me and fucking 2 other dudes, we're here, brother. Let's do it. Like, no.
But that's what it used to be about.
Yeah, it was, but
How
we
did
don't
that work
market.
out?
That's not how we market, bro.
You're
But
right.
if it's a club style game, you have to have that
A club.
Club.
Yeah, so that's antithesis of the word right there, right? And it's just
Okay.
If everybody's just gonna make their own shit up on the spot, then it could be like all the best people or whatever, and then bam. Like
There-
the
'cause
thing
there
is, like,
was-
there's these bragging rights.
Anybody
to
who
go
has RD
home.
on their team, you're winning. I'm sorry. Dude, that was epic, bro. He looked like he just fucking ripped a dragon dick off his mouth and just let the blood
Dragon
run down.
dick off
like
his mouth?
Like he had like dragon dick and just let the blood run down his chest.
He bit off a dragon dick.
Yeah, he's like beans.
It's like, I'll suck your dick, but
He's like,
bah,
it has to be a
joke's on
dragon.
you.
He's like, because you know he's all into that stuff. You know, it's
Oh,
like
Gandalf,
dragon,
yeah.
dragon blood, like epic.
He could just bit the dragon's neck. He just had to be the dragon dick.
Dick,
It
dude.
had to be the
You
dragon
gotta be a
dick,
man
okay.
about it, bro. You gotta rip the dick off.
You killed your first rat. You gotta eat his dick.
that's how your blood in.
Hey, that's RD, man.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna like take home a trophy, like I said, Matt's trophy that he built was, I'd be proud to have that thing sitting behind me. You know what I mean? And if the club style if T-Bar Tuesday won, it would have been in my shop, 100%.
Oh yeah,
Where? You got
Right
right
there.
there.
right there.
There's some pretty things you got to move around. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I could take Kenny Powers and move him over, you know, or my
Move him
grandpa.
over.
Dude, they're just so realistic. That's so crazy.
But no, that's the point. It's like it needs to mean something. You got to care. You got to care about shit. And if you're gonna create a page to represent your state or city, then it means nothing if you can't create people that care about it.
Yeah, but you can't have like a page for every fucking state.
No, you can. But what happens is when you come to the club style games, we see if you have a real page or not.
So we're gonna do the club style games again.
Yeah. Who wins 24? 100%.
We're already calling people out.
That's right.
No, I mean seriously, like it's so easy. Like everybody. God damn it.
It's almost 3:00.
How about this?
6 minutes. 6 minutes.
How about
We're
this?
going.
You roll. I'll pee.
All
I'll
right.
be back and I'll close it up.
All right. So it's so easy for people to create a Instagram page. It's easy. It's an email and a fucking idea, right? Ideas are ideas. It's action that makes things hard. It's the action of doing so. You know that by trying to create an event with or creating an event with the camp out, things like that. Action is where respect comes from. When you see action in somebody is where you're like, okay, yeah, I see where they're trying or they're doing, right? Everybody gets a great idea for an Instagram page. You know, so-and-so Holics, so-and-so Glide, so-and-so Softail. It's all, we're so, like, Instagram's been around for fucking over 10 years now. Like, that shit's old, man. Like, how do you,
Where's the follow through?
what's new?
Yeah.
So if you want to start a page, it needs to represent something that we don't already have or see, which can be your community.
Right.
And that community can be a state, a city, or a suburb of your city. If you're LA and you got the Venice Beach club style, bro, I kind of want to see that. But I'm not cool with you posting fucking Encino club style.
Right.
You got to show me what Venice Beach is about.
Right.
If you're going to be club style Illinois, I need to see Illinois. I don't want to see Arkansas. And so that's what people have done since, you know, I think they all got it, but we talked about in the podcast, like don't create a page to repost and be a club style or a Northwest Arkansas T-bars, and then you post like Texas
Shit out in New
content.
York. Yeah,
my
exactly.
My favorite club style pages are the Thailand ones. You ever follow the Thailand club style pages?
I have, but I don't care anymore.
You know what's funny? What you were just saying, they're like, Arkansas, Vermont, you're in Thailand. Calm down.
Yeah.
You'd never seen this bike before in your life.
Well, that's all of them. They started that way. The repost page concept started off, and it became this easy grab for followers, you know. But since then, a lot of pages have, you know, and I know a lot of the people that run certain pages in certain areas. So like I see their intent, like Club Style Illinois, like that dude's fucking down. He's down for this shit.
Yeah, he has some killer motorcycles, has spent
He
the money,
invests.
put the time to make
Yeah.
the money, to spend the money, to support the dudes in his home state.
And not even that, he's putting events. He's
Yeah, he
doing
is.
shit, right?
Yeah, he is. But nobody knows who he is. That's the best part.
Yeah.
He does not care about the clout. He cares about like the support for the community.
Well, so you want to have that. So like when you have a club style games, like you want to have dudes that are doing it because they want to go home and say, we got the fucking dudes, not the dudes who are like, oh, we're going to fucking like, you know, we're going to go to another event from this event. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the camp out has been the event that started most of these fucking club style pages this side of the country.
Right.
Dick
Right.
hoppers. They're called dick hoppers. Jason.
I don't know.
See?
Anyway, I just you know, whether they come to camp out or not, that's irrelevant. But the point is that like brands, if you're gonna follow something, it has to be something that means something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we were pretty selective about the people that were willing to offer us support for our camp out, because like you had to like check the boxes. And again, we're not pulling a paycheck. We're not pulling profits. it's costed us time and money for us to go out there and like scope the place out and do all this stuff and like put the grind work in to like contact these people. And I feel like that's what's.
No, it was pretty fun to go out there and scope it out. To be
was,
honest with
dude,
you,
it was tight, dude. That place is amazing, man. And that day you invited me to go camping with you, I feel a little bit of regret.
You should.
me too.
Yeah, I do. I'm not
Because
gonna
I
lie.
did a whole video by myself.
Yeah, no, I even messaged
Would you want me
I
to
look
hold
like
the
a
camera or hold
loser
your
on my
You want me
fucking
to hold your camera or
YouTube.
hold your bike? But no, it was cool because that place is so. I said it again. I'll say it before. It's a fucking honey hole,
Yeah.
and it died with the nitty gritty shit. Oh no, not
Giddy
nitty gritty.
Up.
I'm sorry.
Giddy Up.
Fucking
Giddy Up
Giddy Up.
chopper
Sorry.
shit, yeah.
Nitty gritty has
Houston.
died by itself. But yeah, Giddy Up. Don't giddy up. Come to the camp out.
Yeah. So again, it's Lone Star 3 Campout, right? It's the 3rd annual one. And
LS3, baby.
yes,
You have
Lone
like
Star
a gang sign for it? Like
I don't know.
LS3.
We should, right? We should.
LS3.
LS3.
Would you swap your shit? LS3.
But yeah, so we are looking forward to just again, it's just the camaraderie, getting everybody down to Central Texas, the hill country. It's gonna be hot, but we're gonna have a fantastic time. I can't wait to
This
see.
dude got a day job, right?
I can't wait to see all the homies. It's gonna be fun. So I'm stoked.
No, it is gonna be fun.
It'd be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. Whether 10 people or 100 people, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's always like, yeah.
That's it.
Gotta stop.
That's it. We're gonna stop. Hey, look. Tune in.